as Harlan counties as we head over the course of the next little bit. So we're going to keep a close watch on that storm, as that's kind of on the outer skirts of our DMA. We'll zoom back in closer to the south as well, showing you these severe thunderstorm warnings. This has been the same storm that we've been tracking for a while now that has caused multiple severe thunderstorm warnings across the plateau and pushing points eastward. So I'm going to read these new updates. So this is coming in. They're continuing the severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado possible, winds of 60 miles per hour, hail up to 1 inch in diameter. This is for Anderson, Campbell, Scott, and Union counties. This one goes until 1:15, and then you also have a new severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45. This is for portions of Claiborne, Granger, Jefferson, and Union counties. Also, on the note side, this severe thunderstorm warning is also going to include portions of northern Knox County and also Union until 1:45. So you can see Maynardville right there getting hit very hard. La Follette beginning to see some better conditions out there as the storm continues to progress towards the east. Let's take a look at the wind and the velocity on this particular cell as well. This one has had the history of rotating briefly. You can see some pretty gusty winds there and around Clinchmore back over towards La Follette. Museum of Appalachia also beginning to move in at this particular point in time, and then Sharps Chapel over towards Maynardville. Look at all of that wind that is continuing to push off towards the east. This one is moving at 40 miles per hour, and on the backside we have additional severe thunderstorm warnings with the secondary line that'll be moving in here briefly. I'll zoom out and show you what we're dealing with there. We'll kind of give you a DMA view. If you're just joining us, we're cutting in for a tornado warning across our southeastern Kentucky counties. We also have additional storms firing back to the west. You can see severe thunderstorm warnings across middle Tennessee, and then we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, including portions of Scott County, Campbell, Claiborne, back over into very, very northern Knox County, as well as Morgan County. They've been back over to Union and Hamblin. And then you got that tornado warning that's off towards our north. That is going to be across portions of Bell, Knox, as well as Clay counties, and Harlan County as well. And this goes until 1:15 Eastern time. So we're going to keep a close watch on this storm as it continues to move off towards the east at 50 miles per hour. So let's put another track on it. We'll show you where the rotation is and what we're dealing with at the moment with this particular storm, as this is the most dangerous with the potential of producing a tornado over the next little bit. So here's the velocity just east of Barberville, a pretty good couplet showing up there. This is a 25E right there. So if you've ever traveled up towards Cumberland Gap, you know the area. This is north of that, north of Middlesboro, but you've got a pretty good couplet there just towards the east of Barberville, south of Asher's Fork. If you have friends, family, maybe watching us there on our live stream, this is south of you and should stay south of Asher's Fork. This is going to head off towards Harlan, though, eventually as it continues to progress. So let's take a look at the correlation coefficient, and there is a little bit of a drop there. I'm going to back this up a few scans to make sure it's nothing that's radar indicated, and it's kind of hard to tell, but there is a little bit of a correlation drop right there on 25E just to the east of Barberville. So that's the area that we're going to be watching the closest at the moment for the potential of a tornado to be on the ground. So that's what we're going to keep, stay with you. Of course, we'll get you back to regular scheduled programming once the threat is over. But right now, definitely some very strong winds being indicated there, and even some larger hail right over Barberville. So basically right where that tornado could potentially be is where we're seeing the largest hail, upwards of 1 inch plus in diameter. So that could definitely do some damage to the houses, to your cars. So hopefully you're in your most interior part of your house at the moment. I'm just continuing to monitor the National Weather Service chats as well and make sure I'm not missing anything. Same thing looks pretty good at the moment, that nothing is happening. Haven't seen any reports of anything on the ground, but from the Jackson National Weather Service, correlation coefficient is possibly detecting a debris ball on the latest scan where the radar is detecting the tornado signature, and that was at 12:48. So the same thing I just told you about is the location that we potentially could have a tornado on the ground. So we'll have to keep a very close watch on that for those that are listening maybe 3 and digital. This is the location that we're going to be tracking for you at the moment, but still looking through all the National Weather Service chats, making sure that we're not missing anything, but so far so good with what we're dealing with, at least at the particular moment. But there's several severe thunderstorm warnings that we are dealing with, and we're going to continue to keep a very close watch on this particular tornado warning, as it does have a pretty good signature. This is now the newest scan, even farther to the east of Barberville. So that's good news, Barberville. You can come out of your safe place for now. If you live east of Barberville, though, that's the location that we're going to be wanting to keep a close watch on. Let me put a track on that for you and show you who we are dealing with at the moment. So here it is. There's the storm. It does look a little bit more rugged in structure. Hopefully, this is a little bit of a short-lived tornado warning. Hopefully, we're not going to be tracking long-track tornadoes. The better threat for tornadoes actually is off towards our north and east, back up towards areas like Washington, D.C. and those locations. But here, we're definitely dealing with the possibility of some of those strong, damaging winds. So let's put a quick track on this. This is once again moving towards the east at 55 miles per hour. So it's moving very quick. So that is one thing that you're not going to have a whole lot of time once it begins to barrel down on your location. So this is near South Willans as we head closer to 114, Harlan, 121. You need to go ahead and be in your safe place right now, whether that be the interior part of your home, whether it be a closet, a bathroom. Take a bicycle helmet with you. Don't forget some shoes. Take a flashlight as well. I know it's daylight outside, but if we do see some damage and it causes damage to your home, it'll knock out the power. It could be a little bit dark. Nonetheless, St. Charles by 139, Cumberland by 146. So we're going to keep a very close watch on this particular storm. This is the most dangerous at the moment. They are continuing with multiple severe thunderstorm warnings as well. The one that includes Knox County here is just for 60-mile-per-hour winds, as well as hail potentially up to 1 inch in diameter. So let's take a look at that. This does include areas like Maynardville over towards Sharps Chapel, Washburn, Cherokee Lake. Right there's Cherokee Lake. Thorn Hills right here, Blaine off to the south. There's 11 West that runs right through there. But this location is moving off towards the east at about 40 miles per hour. So we're going to keep a close watch on this storm as well. We'll put a track on it and show you the velocities, show you that there's no rotation with this particular storm at the moment, which is good news. Hopefully we don't have to deal with much in the way of tornadic development here in the valley. But Sharps Chapel, definitely seeing some of those strong damaging wind gusts potentially up to the north and west of you. Maynardville, you're kind of on that outer peripheral. You'll probably hear that wind beginning to howl. You'll see the rain really beginning to come down as well. Take a look at the hail. There's a little bit of hail towards Sharps Chapel. It's not as big as what we're tracking in southeastern Kentucky, but you get the idea. In between Maynardville, Sharps Chapel, that's where that hail is currently located. Now let's go back to the west. There's also another severe thunderstorm warning. This particular one goes until 1:45. The one back to the west is now going down until 1:15, and this is a very intense part of the storm as well. And it does have a little bit of appendage just to the south. The Clinchmore right here is trying to get a little bit of an appendage, and these storms have a lot of fuel that they can use today. It's going to have a lot of instability, and they've got a lot of shear. So these storms can rotate, especially when they're singular in nature. If we want straight line winds, more times than not, they're going to be in a straight line, and that would kind of mitigate some of the potential for a tornado. In this particular case, these are what we call supercells, and they are producing at least a little bit of rotation, maybe in around Clinchmore. It's very broad at the moment, but that's good news. The Museum of Appalachia probably seeing a pretty good surge of wind coming in from your north as well. There's 25 west, and of course we have 75, well-traveled road. A lot of people probably being impacted by this if you're traveling up towards Campbell County, up towards Scott County as well. These are the locations that we'd be most concerned about for some damaging winds. Large hail as well. Once again, it's about a ½ an inch in diameter to maybe 3/4 of an inch in diameter size there. So it's not quite an inch. So it's not quite as severe as the one up to the north. Continuing to keep a close watch on the Weather Service chats as they are issuing severe thunderstorm warnings with time. Let's take a closer look back towards the west as we're getting our latest updated scans, because there are additional storms beginning to develop, and you can see these are turning severe as well, and these are the ones that are going to be coming up close to Cumberland, and eventually, as they progress eastward with time, are going to be coming in to Knoxville. So severe thunderstorm warnings, several of those out. You can see those wide severe thunderstorm warnings as well, as they'll begin to make their way into Cumberland County within the next hour to hour and a half. So we still got a little bit of time. Really, the worst of the weather here in Knoxville is going to be closer to 2, 3, maybe 4 o'clock this afternoon. We are under a tornado watch for all of East Tennessee. That is going to go until 7 o'clock this evening. So here's the tornado watch that we're dealing with until 7 o'clock. Now it is 6 o'clock southeastern Kentucky counties. That does include Harlan County. That is until 6 o'clock. The rest of us, 7 o'clock plateau back over into the valley and foothills and mountains. I don't think that we'll see the threat last that long. So if you do have plans that you have later this afternoon, you want to make sure to have several ways to receive alerts should they be issued, whether it be a NOAA weather radio or a WVLT first alert weather app. Great way to do it, getting lightning detected notes on my phone as we're on air saying that the storms are getting closer and closer. So the reason we're on is a tornado warning. That's across southeastern Kentucky right now, across portions of Bell County, as well as Knox County, and moving into Harlan County over the next little bit. Several severe thunderstorm warnings there across portions of Campbell, Claiborne, as well as Union, Granger, and Hamblin counties. Does include a very small sliver of northern Knox County, and we're keeping a close watch on these new cells beginning to develop just to the west of downtown Knoxville. Now back over towards Crossville before the main line begins to arrive. So let's take a look at the lightning. It's usually a telltale sign of how these storms are beginning to form and if they're strengthening or weakening. And in this particular case, this storm has held a lot of lightning, and there's a few new strikes with this beginning the developing cell. And then look back towards the west. A lot of lightning with that storm. That is severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to impact areas along Cumberland County and then eventually McMinn, Monroe counties over the course of the afternoon. But the big story right now potentially is a tornado on the ground. We saw a drop in the correlation coefficient as well as a drop in the radar signature. It doesn't look quite as impressive as it once did. It's now east of Barberville. So if you're in Barberville, you got the all clear. The storm's off towards your east right now and is continuing to move at a pretty quick clip. There's Williamsburg. There's Middlesboro. So you can see Middlesboro well off to the south, Rose Hill. There's Harlan. Harlan, you're not technically in the tornado warning at the moment, but the tornadic part of the storm is going to be very close to you as it continues to progress off towards the east at about 55 miles per hour. So they are continuing the tornado warning there for Bell, Clay, Harlan, Knox, and Leslie counties, and they are saying this was located over Field or 12 miles northeast of Pineville, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So it has slowed down just a little bit, continuing to monitor the other chats as well, and it looks like there is a new tornado warning. They are just continuing that, so that's why you're getting that new alert there on your screen. But overall, looking to see the tornado warning still in effect for Harlan County. It is. That's good news. Continuing to see updated information from each weather service chat. Schools in Jefferson County are dismissing at 1:30 is what EMA director. So guys in the back, I'm sure y'all have that information. But schools in Jefferson are dismissing at 1:30, at least at this particular point in time. So Brittany, you want to talk about the school closings that are happening early?
Yes, Jacob, I'm glad that you brought that up. There are several schools in our area that are closing early because of this weather that Jacob and our team have been talking about. We're going to run through this list. By the way, you can also find this in your WVLT News app or on WVLT.tv. Cook County schools releasing at 1:30. Jefferson County schools also releasing at 1:30. Kings Academy getting out early at 2 o'clock. Lenoir City schools closing early at 1 o'clock. So right now, Loudoun County schools are also dismissing right now at 1 o'clock, and Sweetwater City is dismissing. They just got out about a half an hour ago at 12:30. We know a lot of folks are going back to school for the first time today. Some folks went back last week. So this is a little bit of a twist to the beginning of the school year, but there are several counties that are getting out early, and we have this list. This will continue to update for you. We will keep an eye on all of the schools in East Tennessee and southeastern Kentucky, letting you know who is releasing early because of these storms that are rolling through that Jacob and our team have been talking about. This will stay active. Again, you can find this right now in your WVLT News app, and you can also find this on WVLT.tv. By the way, if it is safe for you and you're seeing some of this storm that's rolling in, again, if it is safe, we would like to see pictures, video, anything that you have, just so we can also be the eyes and ears that are sharing with you. So if you can safely take pictures and video, we would appreciate that. We have a link for you to send us those videos also in your WVLT News app, and on the website you can see that little link right there in the top right corner of your screen. It says submit photos and videos. That's the easiest and fastest way for us to get the videos that you kindly submit to us, and then we can share with everyone else so people know what's going on. We get the latest information straight from you. That's the easiest way that I would suggest if you would be able to safely share your photos and videos. But again, we're talking school closings because several counties and city schools are going back today or have recently gone back. We're just letting you know those schools that are getting out early. Parents, caregivers, you're also getting these notifications directly from the schools, but you can keep count on that list right there on your WVLT News app. Jacob?
Yeah, thank you, Brittany, for sending that in. Here's a live look at the radar in case you're just joining us. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings out across East Tennessee and southeastern Kentucky, but the main reason we're still on your screen is because of a tornado warning that is for Bell, Clay, Knox, and Leslie counties. That is going to go until 1:15 this afternoon. Latest update from the National Weather Service, this was about 5 minutes ago. They are continuing it. The severe thunderstorm was possibly producing a tornado located over Field, or 12 miles northeast of Pineville, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So let's take a closer dive in there with that particular storm. It does look a little bit more ragged in the structure. I'll actually back it up for you and show you that when we first came on, you can see that really good appendage just to the east of Barberville. There's 25E. That's in around Barberville. That was when it looked the best. Over the last couple of frames, though, the good news is that it has shown some signs of weakening as it's progressed towards the east. Let's hope that trend continues. I'll show you the latest velocity scans. You can see there that we still do have a decent amount of rotation, at least at this particular point in time. It's to the east of Barberville, to the north and east of Pineville. So there's Pineville right here. The area that I'd be most concerned about right now would be this location right here. And you can see where the reds and greens coming together. So you got winds going towards the radar, then winds going away from the radar. And those are the things that we're most concerned about for the potential in a drop in the correlation coefficient. It's kind of noisy right now. This is the area that we'd be looking at, and there is a drop, but it's kind of wide, and I wouldn't expect the tornado to be that wide, especially as close as we are to the radar. But even outside of that, look at that. We could be getting some hail contamination on top of that, as the hail size is over 1 inch in diameter. You can see that blue shading there. That's approaching 1 inch to 1.25 inches. I'll query that for you to show you what we're dealing with. They've also issued an aerial flood advisory for Bell, Clay, Knox, and Whitley counties in southeastern Kentucky. You get the idea that it's been very heavy rainfall there. But hail size of 1.1 inch diameter, so that's over quarter size hail that could be falling at your particular location. Of course, as Brittany mentioned, if you have any pictures of this once the storm passes or it's safe to do so, we'd love to see them. We can show them on air and online. But right now, this is the most dangerous storm that has the potential to produce a tornado, and this is heading generally off to the east at 50 miles per hour. I'll put a track on it for you. That way you can know who's in line. You need to be in your safe place right now, whether it be the most interior part of your home, or whether it be in a closet, away from windows. Make sure to have a bicycle helmet, maybe take a mattress with you just to protect yourself from flying debris should a tornado be on the ground. This is heading towards Harlan by 120, over towards Pennington Gap by 140, Dryden 146, and Big Stone Gap. Of course, that'll be out of our viewing region, but I want to go ahead and give you the first alert in case you have friends and family over there that could be watching us on your TV. So this is the locations, and these are the areas that we're most concerned about for the potential of a strong to severe storm capable of producing a tornado at the moment. Let's go to the severe thunderstorm warnings now and talk about what's going on to our south, because they're still very strong at this particular point in time. Here's a look at the watches and warnings that are going out. We have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. One will expire in 10 minutes. That will be on the backside, but this is Claiborne, Granger, Jefferson, Union counties. It does include a small sliver of Knox County until 1:45 this afternoon for winds of 60 miles per hour plus, as well as maybe hail upwards of 1 inch in diameter. So I'm just scanning through the National Weather Service chats, making sure they're not issuing any additional warnings. But this area right here is the one that I'm most concerned about, at least at this particular point in time. So I'm going to take that off. We'll also show you the velocities and what's going on, because there was some pretty good velocity in and around Sharps Chapel to Washburn over the last couple of frames. It's come down a little bit. So hopefully that's some good news. Maybe that's a sign that the storm storm is beginning to weaken just a little bit. It's been a healthy storm. It's been all by itself all afternoon, and this is the first severe thunderstorm warning that we broke in for as it moved through Fentress County, then Scott County, then Campbell and Claiborne counties as well. But let's zoom back to the west now as we are tracking this new severe thunderstorm warning until 1:15. You can see definitely a lot more in the way of velocities beginning to show up. You can see some of these strong damaging winds. Now you got to take into account the radar shooting through this initial batch of showers and storms at Sharps Chapel to Maynardville to Washburn, but in and around Andersonville, south of La Follette, now east of Clinchmore, there's Highway 75 that runs there through Scott as well as Morgan counties and Campbell County. This location is what we're keeping a close watch on for the potential for some of those damaging wind gusts that we'll be keeping a watch on, and not seeing any signs of rotation, at least at the moment. That's good news. Hopefully that trend will continue. But bottom line, it is a very nasty storm. You can see some of the hail signatures about 1/2 inch to 1 inch in diameter. Same as you head over towards Sharps Chapel as well as Maynardville. Now, this hail is not quite as large as what we were just talking about up towards Barberville and Harlan, where it was about 1.5 inches in diameter. Thankfully, that's not quite as bad as what we're dealing with off towards the south. So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to reset the picture, and I'm going to go back to the west and actually show you what we have coming downstream, because we've got more showers and storms that are developing that are strong to severe. You can see that severe thunderstorm warning that's about to move into Crossville, into Cumberland County. Would expect probably soon to see an addition to that severe thunderstorm warning to include areas of Cumberland County, and just keeping a close watch. And there are reports coming out from that severe thunderstorm warning of trees down and numerous limbs as well. So that just gives you an idea. These storms do mean business as we go through the afternoon. Let's take a closer dive into that tornado warning, though, once again, because it does still have a pretty good amount of rotation with it. I'll show you the lightning as well. You can see where the lightning is the greatest is right there near that hook. So that's indicating a good updraft. It's indicating that it's a healthy storm, and that potential is still there to see a tornado potential as we go over the course of the next few frames. Now, this severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning go until 1:15, so we still got plenty of time on that, about 8 minutes. We'll see what the National Weather Service does if they extend it. Next up would be areas in and around Harlan at the moment, and I will say that looking at the latest scans on radar, it is a lot more broad in rotation. It's not as tight as what it once was just a few scans ago. There it is right there. It's very broad. It's about to move into Harlan County here over the next little bit, over the next probably 5 to 10 minutes. And we'll see if the National Weather Service there in Jackson will reissue a tornado warning, or if they'll go with a severe thunderstorm warning based on what I'm seeing right now. Probably going to be probably going to end up being a severe thunderstorm warning. And speaking of that, they have just issued another severe thunderstorm warning in Morristown. This is going to include Bledsoe, Hamilton, McMinn, Roane counties as well. And this is going to go until 2 o'clock. And they are tagging this as considerable damage potential there, with winds of 70 miles per hour and hail upwards of 1 inch in diameter. So let's reset things off, and I'll show you that new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to come in on the south side of the valley and into portions of McMinn and Monroe over the course of the next little bit. So this storm is still a ways out. It does not include areas of Kingston or to Crossville to Wartburg. Yes, there's showers and storms up there, but those are not severe at this particular point in time. So let's take a look, speaking of that, of the velocity as this storm is beginning to bow out just a little bit, and that's why they've got that considerable tag. And look at some of these velocities that are beginning to show up that are going to be moving into portions of McMinn and Monroe coming up over the next little bit, as well as Roane counties. Look at that surge of strong damaging winds. No rotation here. It's just straight line wind damage that we are keeping a very close watch on at the moment. And this is going to be moving in. Let's see the current speed of that particular storm. It should be moving off towards the east at roughly 45 to 50 miles per hour. And this one's actually moving a little bit quicker. This one's moving very quick. In fact, 65 mile per hour winds, or 65 mile per hour is how fast it is moving at the moment. So that's why you got that surge in winds. So let's put a quick track on that for you, as this one will be impacting quite a few people there in the South Valley coming up over the course of the next hour or so. So 65 mile per hour is how fast this one's moving. This is going to be near Athens. 2:22. So you got about an hour or so before this arrives in Madisonville by 2:39, and eventually to come into southern portions of Roane County as well. I would not be shocked to see an additional severe thunderstorm warning issued for portions of Cumberland County as well. We're waiting for that coming from the National Weather Service. So we work with 3 different National Weather Service offices, one in Jackson in Kentucky, then we work here in Morristown, and of course the one in Nashville. But this storm is definitely packing a punch. These storms have continued to strengthen. We have better ingredients over East Tennessee to get these stronger storms, and you can see even across portions of Cumberland County about to see some gusty winds. Thankfully, it doesn't look to be as strong, at least at this particular point in time. You can see how that wind is kind of surging out. Would be in Cumberland County within the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes at the most, and then it'll progress off towards the east with time. But bottom line, some very strong thunderstorms that are moving through East Tennessee at this particular point in time. It's prompted schools to close early. Let's take another quick look at the severe thunderstorm and tornado warning that's now moving into Harlan. They haven't updated anything on that, and it's going to expire here in the next 4 minutes. Current time is 1:11, and this is going until 1:15. So that does give me at least some good indication that hopefully they'll let this warning expire. I'm not seeing anything that would indicate very strong rotation with this, at least at this point in time. Maybe a little bit of a rotation there along 119 as it's moving into Harlan County. This storm is moving towards the east at 50 miles per hour. Still very strong wind, so would not be shocked to see an addition to the severe thunderstorm warning until we head over into Harlan County. So we'll see about that. But there's also that, let's see, the new severe thunderstorm warning is coming out for Anderson, Campbell, Claiborne, Granger, Knox, and Union counties. This is until 2 o'clock. Winds of 60 miles per hour are possible with this one. So let's take a look at that. Once again, it's going to be a pretty active afternoon for us, so you'll probably see us quite a bit on air and online, and that's what we're going to keep you updated for at the most. So there's the new severe thunderstorm warning. I know it's getting a little bit hard to see, but bottom line, they're going to let this warning go for La Follette. There's Interstate 75 there back into Scott and Campbell counties. They're going to let that warning go. That one's going to expire here in the next 3 minutes. But what they've done is they've now taken and extended the strong part of the storm, which is back towards Clinchmore, now pushing towards Andersonville. That's moving into northern Knox County as well as portions of southern Campbell and Claiborne counties. So there's 3 separate severe thunderstorm warnings there. I'll actually turn off the radar for you, and you can actually see that a little bit better there. That this western box that you see that includes La Follette, that's going to go away in about 2 minutes. So that's good news. And then you've got an additional warning that's going to reissue for Maynardville. So if you live in Maynardville, you probably got that warning once again. This is north of Halls, north of Clinton, north of Strawberry Plains, but this is heading over towards Morristown at the moment along 11 West. So let's see what the National Weather Service there in Jackson is going to do. They're going to go with a strong thunderstorm that's going to be out of our viewing region, which is good news. But we got some pictures as well as maybe some updates on the school closings as well. We're going to toss it to Brittany real quick.
All right, Jacob, thanks a lot. We still have about a half a dozen schools that have closed early in the area. You can find all that information on your WVLT News app. Just want to show you a peek outside what it looks like around the area. Thanks to all of our WVLT weather vols for sharing these photos. We have some dark clouds rolling in. This coming in from Stephanie Wise. Stephanie, thanks for sharing this picture with us. And there it is again. You see those clouds rolling through our area. So it's really helpful for us to get these pictures that you're sharing with us so kindly when it's safe to do so, just so we get an idea of what it looks like and what you are seeing, and then we can share that information with everyone else just to keep everybody safe. Back to those school closings. A lot of schools are closing early, or at least a handful of schools are closing early because of this weather that our team has been talking about today. Cott County schools getting out here in the next 15 minutes at 1:30. Same with Jefferson County schools also dismissing at 1:30. Kings Academy getting out at 2 o'clock today. Lenore City schools got out about 15 minutes ago at 1 o'clock. Same with Loudoun County schools, and then Sweetwater releasing at 12:30, so about 45 minutes ago. Just a handful of schools. We know people are going back to school today. Some people going back last week. So want to keep you safe. Make sure that our students, our kids, our teachers are all taken care of, and that you know what time time to be expected to be out on the roads today. Again, if you can share those pictures with us safely, you can do that on the WeatherVols pictures, but then also there is that little icon there at the top right of your screen where you can easily submit photos and videos. We have our meteorologist, Paige Noel, who is with us, also tracking these storms with us today. Paige, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that we are under this tornado watch. This is until 7 p.m. So just a friendly reminder as we head into the next couple of hours here. So here's kind of a big overview. We've had Jacob tracking the first round of those storms. It's moving just north of Knox County, Union County. And then we got that lone storm up into Harlan that was a tornado warning earlier that has now expired. It is a severe thunderstorm warning in Harlan. And then this is that next batch that's really going to be moving in, pushing into parts of Cumberland County and then moving into parts of that southern valley. I'm going to zoom in on a couple of these storms here. Here's that one in Harlan that Jacob's been keeping a really close eye on for you guys. So now you're just in that severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 1:45. It looks like some heavy rain, frequent lightning, definitely moving into the Harlan, the city of Harlan, and then that's going to continue to push into parts of Virginia. Let's get back into East Tennessee. This is where we're tracking a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. You may have got a notification on your phone because this does include a sliver of really north Knox County there, also including really almost all of Union County, parts of Granger, Jefferson County, also Claiborne County as well. It's kind of just really mostly a sliver. It's really mostly Union to Granger. Really, we're just tracking heavy rains and these really crazy winds that are continuing to push in, and they're really going to intensify as these storms continue to push off towards the east. So this is the next one we're keeping an eye on a little bit outside of our area, Bledsoe, Hamilton, Meigs, and Ray County. That's until 2 p.m. We're going to be tracking some of those rain and storms for you. I actually have my phone here because this is what the National Weather Service is using now. So if you see me look at my phone, this is why. So these storms have been moving east at about 40 miles per hour, 60 mile per hour wind gust, and quarter size hail. That's for that one that's in Knox, Campbell, and even parts of Granger County. Let me go back out of it for you though, so I can track this out for you. I'll turn off these severe thunderstorm warnings as well, just so you guys can get a better view of exactly where we are in this. So as I go back to that Knox County one, again, it's just kind of a sliver of northern Knox County, and then it is including parts of, looks like Clinton's just getting in on some of that heavier rain right now and really dealing with some of that heavier rain almost all into Union County. I told you I was going to turn off this little banner thing, so I'm going to do that for you guys here, but we're going to continue to track some of this out for you here over the next little bit, so you can see that as we see that heaviest of that rain, potentially some hail within this. Of course, we haven't gotten any reports of that yet, but it is definitely possible. So we are going to continue to watch that for you guys. But these are continuing again to push towards, there's that tornado watch again, but these are going to continue to push towards the east at about 40 miles per hour. So as I kind of zoom in on some of these areas for you, this one down into parts of that Clinton area, tracking out the leading edge of that as it moves into parts of North Knox County. Again, these are moving towards the east at about 40 miles per hour here. So tracking out the latest on that, that's moving towards Gibbs at 128, Strawberry Plains at 140, Panther Creek State Park there at 158, Morristown at 205, Whitesburg, it's on your front door closer to about 216. So it's really just clipping parts of that northern part of Knox County, and then that could be pushing into more towards the east there. And then as we track out the leading edge of this storm, again, that one's continuing to push east as well at about 40 miles per hour. So we still got a little bit till we're watching these storms push in. We've had a lot of energy to play with as well. So as these storms push into our area, they definitely could intensify. So moving into Cold Springs closer to 1222, Spring City at 143, Watts Bar Lake at 152, and then moving closer to Sweetwater at 212. That's when you're going to see the gusty storms really moving into your area. So it's going to kind of clip parts of northern McMinn, Monroe, pushing into Roane and Loudoun, and then parts of Knox to Blount County. This is what we're keeping an eye on for the majority of our area as we move into Knox and into parts of Blount County. Now, I know Jacob's been keeping an eye on the chat for us, the National Weather Service. Jacob, any new information as of now?
Yeah, just a quick update on that tornado warning that was out for Bell as well as Clay, Knox, and Harlan counties. They have said that it is trying to show some signs of maybe reorganization. They will pull the trigger for Harlan County if need be. That one currently has a tornado tag with it, but really been watching the Morristown chat as well as the chat back in Nashville with these storms that Paige was just talking about. Look at all the lightning with it that's about to move into portions of McMahon Monroe. That's where that severe thunderstorm warning goes into effect for, but also the fact that this storm has some extremely strong winds with it. Take a look at some of these velocities that we're dealing with right now. I'm going to turn off the lightning so it doesn't glitch as much. This is coming from the National Weather Service there in Morristown, but the storms in Bledsoe and Ray are now showing 80-knot velocities at about 5,000 feet up. So what that means is 5,000 feet above where we are here at the ground, winds are blowing at least 80 knots worth of velocity. So that's approaching 85 to 90 mile per hour winds. What that means is with the heavy rainfall, that's what the rain will do. It'll bring those winds down to the surface, so it could be just as powerful potentially as a tornado. And speaking of that, they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Anderson, Blount, Knox, Loudoun, and Roane counties. This is separate. They've also tagged the possibility that this could contain a tornado as well. So let's take a look at that severe thunderstorm warning that's just popped up. So that's going to go until 2 o'clock. So we got about another 40 minutes to go on this particular storm. So this is right over Kingston. This is heading towards downtown Knoxville. At the moment, it's along 40. So if you are thinking about heading out, maybe traveling, just hold off just a little bit for us, of course. And they also have looks like they issued maybe another severe thunderstorm warning. They issued 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. So what we're going to be dealing with this storm as it moves in is the potential for a tornado possible. We'll take a look at the velocities and show you what we're dealing with, what we're talking about. Some pretty gusty winds there. Doesn't show great signs of rotation, at least at the moment. That's good news. Hail is relatively small at the moment as well. So that's right over Kingston. And that storm, I'm going to pull it up, is going to be moving off towards the north and east. So it's got a little bit more of a northerly component to it, and that one's moving very slow at 25 miles per hour. So we'll put a quick track on that for you as this storm is moving towards downtown Knoxville. So we're going to keep a close watch on this storm as it moves in. But 25, so it's a very slow mover as it is progressing off towards the east once again at about 25 miles per hour. So the McPhee Park as we head closer to 127, Hardin Valley as we head towards 134, Bearden 146, and eventually downtown Knoxville if it holds together. And really, as Paige mentioned, these storms have a lot of fuel that they could be going into, and so these storms could potentially be long-lasting at the moment. And as we're speaking, there's additional severe thunderstorm warnings that are just issued out for Cocke, Granger, Greene, Hamblin, Hawkins, and Jefferson counties. So things really beginning to get busy. We gave you the first alert on this a couple of days ago, and I'll kind of reset the picture, and then I'll let Paige take over that new severe thunderstorm warning that we are dealing with. But you can see across all of East Tennessee, we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. Thankfully, no tornado warnings, although as Paige mentioned, that tornado watch goes until 7 o'clock this evening. Paige, what's the latest with that severe thunderstorm warning? Yeah,
it looks like it just got issued, like Jacob just said here. I'm actually going to click on it for you, and we'll go straight to that severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. And of course, we'll see if my maps want to work. There it goes. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is the new one that just came out that Jacob was just talking about here. Let's kind of zoom in on it so you can see it includes parts of Mohawk to Greenville. It's really that line of storms that's just a little bit north of Knox. That's continuing to push in. So that includes Morristown. You guys are now in this. You weren't in that warning before. It includes Cocke, Greene, Hamblin, and Hawkins County, almost all of Greene County there. That's until about 2:15. I'm going to kind of zoom out of here for you so you can kind of see where some of that heavier rain is just north of Knoxville there, and then moving into Morristown. Here's this one that is just now. Jacob was looking at this one that's moving out of Kingston. This one's going to be moving into downtown Knoxville in the next little bit. Here's a fresh track on that. You said it was moving a little bit slower, Jacob, 20 to 30-ish?
25 miles an hour.
25 right there. So it's moving into Hardin Valley at 141, Nicholas Ball Park at 149, Bearden, it's on your front door at 202, downtown Knoxville 211, and then Holston River Park, that's at 221. There's that storm up into Harlan, just checking in on that again. Again, that's moving through parts of the city of Harlan here, and then here's where that severe thunderstorm warning was just extended. It's because of all of this mess here. I do want to read something from the National Weather Service. They just posted in here that the storms in Bledsoe and the Ray area are showing 80 knots velocity. It's just really, really gusty winds. So with that, that's the storms that's really going to continue continue to push into parts of that southern valley. That's this set of storms here. So these have a history maybe producing really gusty winds. It's a little bit outside of our area, but these are the ones that we are tracking to move into McMinn, Monroe, Roane to Loudoun County, and then this will eventually move into parts of Blount into Knox County. So that one goes until 2 o'clock. I would say after 2 o'clock, that's when we'll start to see a little bit more of those heavier rains move into our area. I'm trying to see if we're getting anything else. They're issuing severe thunderstorm warning for Cotton Granger. Okay, we looked at that one here. So they're continuing to kind of trim these back and then continuing to reissue them. And another important thing to remember is hail is possible. 1-inch hail, winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. Those are really the big threats with some of these storms that are continuing to push through. Now, Jacob's been keeping an eye on parts of that rotation. So good news, we're not seeing a whole lot of that. I'm going to go back here to look at this one and kind of zoom in on it a little bit more. So you got that really heavy rain. It's kind of starting to push. I feel like this system, Jacob, is moving a little bit more towards kind of the southeast. Let me see if I can try to loop it for you here. Try to get this to work. It's kind of a little too high for me. I think I'm on your camera set. So looping it for you guys to see potentially where this has been over the past really couple of hours. It looks like it's not moving too much east here. Here, I'll try to mess with it on my computer for you guys, but it looks like it is moving just a little bit more towards the southeast now. Let's see if I can loop this for you. Pressing this button here.
And if you want the loop, I have it looping back on
Jacob's got it.
Max
Got it
2 if you want to take it as Paige is talking. Yeah. So this is what Paige was just talking about. Yeah, it's definitely diving south and east with time there. And multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. I was just looking at the wind velocity. We're going to get a pretty good idea how strong those winds are moving into Morristown here in just a minute, because it's going to move right over the Weather Service radar. So expect to hear from them pretty soon on that, which will give us a good idea as it heads into Greene County what we can expect. And what I mean by that is if we look at this velocity, you can see some of those greens going right towards the radar and then the reds going away. So as the storm comes in, it's very strong, anywhere between 40 to 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. And there's quite a bit of lightning with this storm as well. And looking even back farther to the west, we're dealing with these strong storms, and we're going to be dealing with them for quite some time. And looking at the actual velocities itself, it looks like some of the strongest winds are actually in and around Maynardville at the moment, and coming in from the National Weather Service in Morristown. This is in Campbell County, so if Digital, you're listening, you want to make a few calls on this, maybe we can get some more information. But there are a few trees down 2 miles south of Caryville, so that location there has had history of wind damage, and they are issuing a severe thunderstorm warning now for Cumberland County. With considerable damage, potentially with winds of 70 miles per hour. So, Paige, if you want to talk about that one as well.
Yeah, I have that one pulled up here. It is kind of a sliver of southern Cumberland County there, and that goes until 1 o'clock. Let me see if I can get a better view actually on this. So, kind of going through some slides here to make sure you guys could have a better view of it. There's that storm that's moving into Knox County next little bit. We'll talk about that in a second. But there's that one into Crossville. It's really just mostly Crossville. It's like right, it almost looks like right along 40 and south of that. So that is just really gusty winds. This is that same line of storms I was just telling you about that the National Weather Service was saying has a history of producing some pretty damaging winds. Again, it's really kind of moving in just outside of our area, but we are going to continue to track this as it does move into parts of Knox County. Let me zoom it out a little bit. I'll turn off that severe thunderstorm warning for you just because it's a little bit harder to see, I know. So let me turn that off. There we go. And we'll be able to track this out for you guys here. So you'll notice that we are seeing that really heavy rain now and those really gusty winds just south of Crossville. It is really right along 40 now. You can see that I turned that off. So as we track this one out for you over the next little bit. Jacob, did they say how fast this one was moving? Is this one one of the slower ones?
Check. That one is
I feel like it's probably moving closer.
It was moving about 50.
Okay, cool.
Briefly, let's see. It's sped up to 55, moving east.
Okay, that's what I thought. I know that little one was moving a little bit slower here. So here's a look at Kingston. So we're going to be tracking those really, really gusty winds moving into your area right around 142, Hardin Valley 201, West Town Mall that's moving into your front door right around 210. You have one just before that as well, moving into downtown Knoxville at 216, and then Seymour there at 226. So really it's just this whole line. Let me actually see if I'm going to put a better track on this for you guys, kind of track out this entire line for you. You have to give me a second. I got to draw it. I'm not the best drawer here. Let me redo that. The mouse is being funky. Here we go. Alrighty. So as we see this continue to move, like Jacob said, east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So that's moving into Dayton at 135, Kingston 155, Athens on your front door at 213, and then Madisonville there at 230. So you can kind of see this big swath. These are continuing to move east. So this will kind of ride along 40. Yes, there's a few storms ahead of it, but this is kind of that main line that we've been talking about, or I've been talking about all morning, that have been moving in kind of right on time between that 1 and 2 o'clock time frame. So I think this is going to ride along 40. Still got a few more of those storms. Those could definitely clip parts of North Knox, but I think this is going to be moving in right into kind of right along 40, West Knox into South Knox, and then really a good portion of Blount County, and then down into McMinn, Monroe County. I know there's a lot of energy to play with still. You've had some sunshine today. We've had those really warm temperatures and just some kind of gross weather this morning that has helped these storms become on that strong to severe side. So that's why we're going to continue to see that move into really parts of the foothills and mountains here in the next about hour or so. I'll get off this track. Let's go look at a few more of those other storms that we've been tracking for you. I'm going to put this in play so we can kind of get a bigger view. I'm kind of zooming back out for you because we are still tracking some of those really nasty storms that are moving into North Knox County. Starting to move out of Anderson. Looks like just some kind of heavy rain. I have turned off the lightning for you guys. There was lots of lightning with the storms. I turned it off just so we could see where that heavy rain is for you. So really southern Union County there, and then starting to move into parts of Morristown. Dandridge, you're kind of next. It is kind of clipping you just a little bit, staying a little bit more north of you. But let's check out this lone storm because this storm is producing some really heavy rain and gusty winds. This is the one that's moving just a little bit slower, but still going to be pushing into Bearden at 158, downtown Knoxville at 207, Holston River Park at 215, Seymour at 222, French Broad River at 229. It's important to note these are all severe thunderstorm warnings. We are under a tornado watch. That's until 7 o'clock, but these are just producing those straight line winds. And it's also important to note that that can do just as much damage as a tornado. So let's treat these just as serious as that, or just as serious as a tornado warning. You need to be inside, be away from windows. Don't go outside and look at these storms. Just kind of be in your safe place and be listening to us as we're trying to call out your area. Let's try to go over to, these storms that have been over into parts of Morristown. I'm actually going to zoom it out just a little bit more for you guys since they have moved. They've been moving pretty quickly for you. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. We'll go over here. So as we track out this, we're really seeing that heavy rain moving into Morristown now. So here's the latest track on that storm because that's going to be moving into Greene County in the next little bit. These storms are still pushing east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So that's going to be moving closer to Mohawk at 148, Greenville on your front door at 204. And then I think it's going to start to move out of our area closer to about 230. I'm going to then track out this really southern part of this storm because that's going to clip parts of Jefferson County and then potentially into Cocke County as well. Let's get this out far enough for you. So that's moving into White Pine at 146 and then moving into Parisville at 201. Greenville, you're going to start to see more of those rain and storms moving in closer to about 217. Again, right now we're dealing with the heaviest and the gusty winds into Union County. Looks like it's clipping parts of Granger County. Cherokee Park, you're getting hit with some of that really heavy rain right now. Rogersville, you guys are mostly just dealing with that rain. It's that southern part of the county where you're dealing with potentially some of those strong to severe storms to push in. Let's kind of go back out for you as we check out a few other areas. Here's still that severe thunderstorm warning we're keeping an eye on. Again, it's a little bit outside of our area, but this is the one that's going to be moving into Roane, Loudoun, McMinn, Monroe County. That's at about 2. That one goes until 2 o'clock. So I would say a little bit closer to about 1:45, 2 o'clock. We're going to start watching those downpours and storms push into that northern part. I'll kind of track out the northern part of this storm for you as it continues to push into our area. These storms, again, are moving towards the east at about 50, 55 miles per hour, depending on where you are. So moving into 10 Mile at 155, Sweetwater 207, Madisonville 214, starting to move into Blount County, Von Orr there at 222, Lanier there at 230. So again, providing heavy rain, lots of lightning, and really those gusty winds. That's what Jacob's been keeping a pretty close eye on for us, is that velocity to show just how strong those winds are and those really those lightning strikes as well, because these storms are pretty active out there as well, Jacob.
Yeah, that's right, Paige. Continuing to keep a close watch on some of these wind gusts, and we're kind of getting in that no man's land is what we call for our radar, is where it's in between the one that's in Nashville and the one here in Morristown, but you can get a pretty good idea of the storm that Paige was just alluding to. These winds, maybe 70, 80 miles per hour. Now, this is several thousand feet up, but every time you get some heavy rainfall coming down, that could bring those winds down towards the surface. So we're going to keep a close watch on that. We also have reports of some trees down in and around the La Follette community as well. This is in Crossville Memorial there in Tennessee. They had a report of 53 knot gust of wind, so that's close to 60 miles per hour there in Crossville. So you get the idea that these winds are making it to the ground. Whether or not it's 70, 80 miles per hour is relatively to be seen. That can still bring down trees and power lines, but bottom line, the worst of the weather in and around Cumberland, southern Cumberland, about to move into portions of Roane and Loudoun counties over the next little bit. So expect to see that severe thunderstorm warning extended for our most eastern areas as this line comes through. And just as I alluded to that, here comes the next severe thunderstorm warning for that particular area that we're tracking. So we're getting a little busy there. I'm going to turn off the radar and we'll talk about each individual warning that we have at the moment, and then we'll kind of talk about the storms themselves. But you can see that new warning issued for that area that I just talked about that was getting that 60 mile per hour wind gust, including a new storm that's been kind of developing and gaining its strength in and up and around Wartburg. But for that area, so this is going to go until 2:30 for this particular severe thunderstorm warning. We'll kind of pull it up and hopefully it'll show you the new one that's up. So this one's until 2 o'clock. This is Anderson, Knox, Loudoun, and Roane counties. This is the one that's heading close to Bearden now. Has a little bit of a appendage on the backside. Still haven't seen a whole lot in the way of rotation with it. That's good news, but something that we'll keep a very close watch on for you. The new severe thunderstorm warning is actually the one off towards the north. You can see that includes Wartburg, and it's just kind of hard to see with all the different warnings that are at the moment, but you can see they're kind of updating the severe thunderstorm warning that includes portions of McMinn and Roane counties. That one is going to go, of course, until about 2:45, 2:30 this afternoon. So there it is until 2 o'clock. So that's got about 30 more minutes. That does include areas like Watts Bar Lake, heading over towards Athens and Madisonville as the storm progresses east at about 65 miles per hour. So that storm is moving very quickly. We'll pop the radar back on and show you where these severe thunderstorms are at this particular point in time. I want to focus on the one that's going to move in to Knoxville as well. This is near McPhee Park at the moment. This is kind of by itself, at least at the moment. It's going to be taken up by that line of storms coming up here in just a little bit as those progress off to the east a little bit quicker. But Paige alluded to the fact that this particular storm is moving about east at about 25 miles per hour. And let's take a look at the velocities, because it is coming in once again on the south and west side of Knoxville. Still looking pretty good velocity wise, not seeing any rotation. That's good news. Haven't seen an expansion of that severe thunderstorm warning either, which is some positive signs that hopefully this storm is weakening. But in and around portions of Kingston, heads up once again Oak Ridge. This is now a severe thunderstorm warning for this particular storm, which is showing some pretty good signs of 60 mile per hour winds there. Once again, not much in the way of rotation, although there is a little bit of a spike there potentially just to the north and west of Kingston. So we're going to keep a close watch on that over the last couple of frames, kind of being continuated by the rain a little bit as the radar is shooting through with their beams. But bottom line, these storms do mean business, so hopefully you're in your safe place, just kind of riding it out. There's multiple severe thunderstorm warnings also off towards the north and the west. That does include areas like Morristown. Moving out of Maynardville now, this is heading closer to Cherokee Lake, Blaine, as well as Gibbs and Strawberry Plains. We'll take a look at that velocity, and then we'll toss it over to Paige with some new information as well. But some pretty gusty winds, Gibbs to Blaine, not seeing any rotation. Cherokee Lake seeing some pretty good hefty winds there as well. And that's going to be moving off towards the east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour as this storm continues to progress off towards the east towards Greene County. Just getting numerous reports outside of our viewing region of some showers and storms. And I think that Brittany has a couple of those pictures and a couple of updates, of course, on schools as they're letting out early with the storms moving in.
Yes, let's get to some of the pictures. Appreciate you for sharing pictures and videos with us whenever it is safe. Here is a picture that we can show you, a video actually coming down from Rocky Top. This one, you can see that rain falling. Did you say it was from Debbie, Zach? Debbie in Rocky Top, thank you so much. We got a team driving for us in the back there. So there's some clouds that are rolling in now. This is in Talbot. Dan sent this one in to us. So thank you, Dan. You can see those clouds rolling in. That is ominous. And then here's another one that's coming in from Rocky Top. I missed that name, Zach. Amber. Thank you, Amber, sending this one in. And then another video. Amber also sending this one to us from Rocky Top. You can see that rain coming down in the area and the dark skies above it. Amber, thank you for sending that one. We've got a couple more coming in from our weather vols. Appreciate you sending these to us on Facebook. This is in Pikeville from Jennifer. Looks like some heavy rain in that area too. Thank you, Jennifer, for sending that one in. You can also send these in the WVLT News App. There's a way for you to submit videos and pictures. This one is from Halls. Charity sending this one to us. Dark clouds in Halls. Another one from Charity. You see that just really dark for as far as you can see. Those clouds are just covering a lot of ground there. This one also is from Charity. Again, we'd love to see these pictures. Thank you to all of our weather vols and to everybody who's sending these in the WVLT News app. We also have a list of closings, schools getting out early. A lot of schools already passed that point of release. A lot of schools, again, going back to school today. Some more folks who haven't been let out yet. Just one more, which is Kings Academy, getting out in 20 minutes at 2 o'clock. The rest of it, Cocke County, Jefferson County, Lenoir City, Loudoun County, and Sweetwater all have already been dismissed for the day. Let's get to meteorologist Paige Noel. Paige, you got a lot of action out there that you are keeping track of.
Yeah, we just actually got a new severe thunderstorm warning as well. This is for parts of the plateau right now. The lightning strikes for you to prove that there is a lot of lightning. These storms are very electric. So let's go to that first alert. We're going to go to that severe thunderstorm warning for you in a second. Sometimes it takes a second to load there. So this is brand new into the WVLT first alert weather station as we are tracking that severe thunderstorm warning. Now there's two different ones basically for Cumberland County, but basically all of Cumberland County now in a severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Cumberland, parts of Fentress. Looks like a new one just came up. I'll go to that in a second. I do want to share some information though from the National Weather Service on this. It says the Crossville weather station reported 61 miles per hour, and those winds are moving into East Tennessee. So that is the storm, which is why they issued the severe thunderstorm warning. 61 mile per hour wind gust. So definitely some straight line winds. Lots of power outages being reported. If you all hear me in the back, maybe something to check on. And then they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Cocke, Granger, Greene, Hamlin, Jefferson, Knox, and severe. Reading that from the National Weather Service. I'm going to show you that here on the maps. Again, we got to let this thing load for you. Oh, load faster that time. All right, here's a look at that severe thunderstorm warning for parts of those counties here. So you can see it. It does include a sliver of kind of northeast Knox County, Cocke, Greene, Hamlin, Hawkins County. Again, these are starting to dive a little bit more towards the southeast. Jacob and I were just talking about that. That goes until about 2:15. All right, I'm going to reset us here. Here's kind of a big overview. Yes, looks really messy. We'll zoom in on each part here. Look at all these lightning strikes within this red box here. So basically all of our area, over 1,700 lightning strikes and continuing to go up. So these storms are very strong and severe. So right now in the heart of Knoxville, the storms are kind of all around you. Let's check out a few of these. So we got a really strong storms moving now into Oak Ridge. Let's check out the leading edge of that. Again, these are moving east at about, I think they're still moving at 50 to 50 miles per hour. It's kind of hard for me to go all the way to that, but I'll get you to it as much as we can. So that's going to continue to push into Powell here closer to about 2 o'clock, maybe even a little bit sooner. Hall's there at 2:13, Gibbs at 2:20, Kodak at 2:38. I'm going to reset this. Let's check out this lone storm that's moving into West Knox. I think this one's going to be riding really right along 40 there and continuing to push more towards the Strawberry Plains area. So Bearden's really right on your front door in the next less than 10 minutes. Downtown Knoxville, 2:05 there. The French Broad River at 2:27, and then Kodak there at about 2:37. Let's go over to these storms that are just now starting to move. Strawberry Plains, you're really getting on that heavy rain, the lightning starting to move out of Union County. That's some good news for you guys. And then continuing to move into Hamlin, Jefferson, into parts of Granger County as well. Dandridge right on your front door. That's going to continue to push into your area. Again, these are diving a little bit more towards the southeast, and then that's why they're moving more towards Greene and Cocke County in the next little bit. Here's another line that we've been tracking for you too. This one's going to be pushing into McMinn and Monroe County in the next little bit. Let's check out this leading edge for you as these continue to push east at about 50-ish miles per hour. So moving towards Watts Bar, less than 10 minutes. Sweetwater at 209, Lenore City at 224, McPhee Park 231. You got some other storms though coming too as well, and then moving into the Louisville area closer to about 239 here. Let's kind of go back and just look at this. I'm actually going to zoom this one out for you guys just because it has moved since the last time. Let's zoom out because I would love to check out some of these storms, especially the ones that are in parts of Strawberry Plains. I kind of have to zoom out because they are moving so quick, so I can't zoom in a whole lot for you. I'm actually going to put a big old track on this one for you guys because this is one of the newer warnings that just came out. Let's do that. They're moving a little bit more east, southeast here. Let's see if I can get you there. All right, so this one's moving closer to Dandridge at 144, Douglas Lake at 154, Newport 207, Dixie Highway at 214. Again, these are kind of moving a little bit more towards the east, kind of southeast. Let's track out then. I'll put another big old track on here for you guys. More for this cluster of storms that's going to be moving hopefully out of the Morristown area in the next little bit. Again, here's as these really just kind of start to push more into Cocke and Greene County. Again, east at about 50 miles per hour, could be producing winds gusting up to potentially 60 to 70 miles per hour. So Mohawk on your front door at 152, moving into Greenville at 213, Allenstan at 232. You just saw the new radar scan move in, so I'm actually going to turn this off so you can see that, because I think all of Union County, I think most of the rain and storms are out of your area. If you have any reports and you can safely send them to us, let us know. Storms are pretty nasty over your area. And then really we're just tracking this next really big thing to move in. I have a computer over here, so I am going to put a big old track on some of these storms. Again, zooming out just so you can get a better look at that bigger picture here. So as we continue to track out kind of this leading edge that's into parts of Anderson County, that's really all moving into Knox County here in the next little bit. So Clinton, it's basically right on your front door. Knoxville at 205, Gibbs at 210, and then moving into Strawberry Plains 224, Kodak closer to 231. These storms have history of producing really gusty winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour. We got a report from the National Weather Service. They recorded a 61 mile per hour wind gust in Crossville. I'll take you actually back out to that storm over there for you. Let's see if it'll load for me. So yeah, you can see some of those storms. Those are just now moving onto the plateau. So these are going to continue to push into Roane, Loudoun, pushing back into Anderson, maybe even Union County as well. And then really McMinn, Monroe County, you guys haven't gotten in on any of the action yet. So likely going to start to see these severe thunderstorm warnings get expanded into McMinn and Monroe County. It's hard to tell if Roane and Loudoun County are in a warning right now. I'm sure they are. We're still tracking that lone storm into far west Knox. That one's been moving a little bit slowly, but I think that's going to all move in. Blount County, it's been quiet for you so far, but this is the next one that we're tracking. That's just moving into Watts Bar Lake. That's going to be pushing in right along 75, I would say, in the next about 10 to 20 minutes. And then you can see some of the heaviest of that rain starting to push out of Crossville. Again, I know we've gotten some reports out of there of some really gusty winds. I'm kind of doing a little bit of a radar tour here. I'm going to actually reset us again just so we can get a look at that bigger view. You can see all of those lightning strikes. Again, hard to see all of those warnings, but a lot of our counties in it. It's really riding right along 40 and just kind of right there a little bit north of that. Southeastern Kentucky, you guys are looking good for now, even up to Campbell, Claiborne County. Like I said, if we haven't really called out your county, you're looking pretty good. Got over 17, almost 1,800 lightning strikes right now in and around the area. Really starting to deal with some of the heavy rain and those really gusty winds. Just now starting to push into far west Knox. I think we'll see it push into Bearden here in the next little bit. From Kingston to Oak Ridge to Clinton, you're not technically in a warning right now, but you do have some of those those strong to severe storms moving into your area. Same into farther northeastern Knox County and the Strawberry Plains. Union County looking a little bit better for you guys. Really heavy rain right in the Morristown to Dandridge area. It's starting to push out of Granger County, but moving closer towards Hamblin and Jefferson County, and then that's going to push into Cook and Greene counties as we have these severe thunderstorm warnings anywhere from 2 to 2:45 here. We might have a few expire in the next about 10 minutes. And again, here's a look at some of those storms. They look a little bit more clustery, Jacob. I can't really tell with this radar right now, but what are you seeing with some of these storms down towards the south? I'd be interested to see the velocity because they've been talking about this line of storms being definitely the strongest we've seen so far this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right, Paige. The National Weather Service in Nashville just sending out that Crossville just gusted to 64 miles per hour not long ago. So those winds that Paige was just alluding to are very strong. You can see that. It's basically over Watts Bar Lake right now, southern Cumberland County. Now, these are all racing off towards the east and southeast at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So they're meaning business. They're causing some damage in a few locations. We got numerous trees down across portions of Campbell as well as Claiborne counties, and they are issuing a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to basically expand the rest of McMinn and Monroe counties until let's say that's going to go until 2:30. So that's the same storm that we were talking about just a moment ago. I'll take off the velocity and show you that new severe thunderstorm warning as it's now encompassing areas like Athens to Madisonville. And as this storm continues to push off towards the east, let's see how fast they have it moving now. It looks like it's going to be moving off towards the east at roughly 55 miles per hour. So I'm going to put you a track on that for you if you live in McMinn and Madison counties as well. This storm is going to be heading into your neck of the woods pretty quickly. Once again, this is moving towards the east at about 50. So we'll put a track on the new severe thunderstorm warning at the moment. So there it is, 50 miles per hour. So it's moving relatively quickly. Athens 156, Madisonville 212, towards Lanier as we head closer to 232, LaCroix 245, and Cades Cove at 258. So a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings going on. It's a very active day across East Tennessee. Let's take a look at some of the velocities off towards the north. That's back closer to portions of Oak Ridge as well as Crossville, especially with those winds being reported closer to 64 miles per hour at times, and beginning to hear some of that thunder there on top of, or here in Bearden. You can see those gusty winds there. Thankfully, no rotation with these. That is a good sign. Hopefully that will continue to be the case, that we don't have to deal with any tornado warnings. But bottom line, these storms could still knock down trees, knock down power lines, as they are severe with winds gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour in a few locations. We'll take a look at this. We also have meteorologist Kathy that's been tracking out some of the showers and storms with us and putting that out on social media. So if you maybe can't watch us on air online, you can look at our social media pages. But look at the wind now surging in and around the Dandridge community at the moment to the east. That's quite a bit of strong winds there. 25 east. That's now east of Morristown. That's under severe thunderstorm warning. That'll head down towards Newport as well. Now we are under a tornado watch technically until 7 o'clock. Meteorologist Kathy's got the latest on that.
Hey, good afternoon, Jacob. Well, as we come up on the 2 o'clock hour, I want to reset here and tell you what we're looking at. So this tornado watch is in effect for everybody watching this right now. What does that mean, right? Does that mean that something's imminent? No, it means that the ingredients are there. So let's just quickly do a little 101 refresher course. The risk of hazardous weather is there. We've already had damage reports. La Follette, Caryville, that 64 mile an hour gust. Boy, is that enough to do damage in Crossville. You want to have a plan. Paige, Jacob just mentioned Monroe County, Sevier County, most of Blount County. You're like, man, still got some blue skies. When you got the warning, whether it's a tornado or severe thunderstorm warning, that means it's happening now, or it's very likely to hit your location if you're under it in the next few minutes. So you want to have the action plan ready to go, and that's where a lot of us are. Just so you know, the real chance of rain is next hour, then 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. There are going to be a couple of late evening storms in Jamestown. Let's take you back to the wide view. Notice the red banner. We are under that WVLT first alert weather day. We're seeing numerous storms, especially this one, which I'll highlight in a second. But back here, out to the west, we've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. These are moving faster and into an area with more fuel, basically more gasoline, more heat, more humidity, higher dew points. So Madisonville, I want you to have that plan ready to go right now. Nyota, Sweetwater, Philadelphia, you need to be ready for the potential of wind damage really any minute. Then onto the west side of Knoxville. Paige mentioned this. It's a little bit tough to see the boxes because there are so many overlapping severe thunderstorm warnings. What I'd recommend, if you're in this red color or it's close to you, out to the left on the screen, you want to have that plan ready to go and treat it akin to a tornado warning because there's enough wind here to mimic what that could produce. So here's what we're looking at. This is racing out to the east northeast at about 60. This is moving due east, and these actually may be a little bit of a right mover. Morristown and Newport. Let's put the lightning track. 1,700 plus lightning strikes rolling in. Now, lightning does not make a storm severe. But boy, if you're out, if you've been out at the lake, if you've been at the pool, if you're at the golf course, camp, school, that is a big deal. Here's that severe thunderstorm warning. This is moving towards Mohawk, Morristown, Cott County, Greene County, Hamlin, Hawkins till 2:15. So we got about another 22, 23 minutes on that. Here's where we're heading. Strawberry Plains at the bottom of your screen. This is the live location of the Morristown radar, a little bit closer to Alpha. And I was looking at this a couple seconds ago. We're seeing a little bit of a hook, a little bit of one, and there's a little bit of wind damage potential right towards I-81 up towards the Yoders. Here's the severe wind damage reports. Let's see it. Brand new one for southeastern parts of Union County. There were numerous tree downs reported by the 911 call center in Caryville. Numerous reports of wind damage as well at La Follette. Also, 64-mile-an-hour gust in Crossville. That is severe by several miles an hour, and this is a look at, well, not a flash flood warning, but severe thunderstorm warnings going in for quite a while. Again, a look at where that wind damage is. I'm going to get ready to send it over to meteorologist Paige Noel. Paige, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're really just tracking a bunch of those severe thunderstorm warnings. We actually just got an update from the National Weather Service that there was several trees down in Bledsoe County. Again, that's just a little bit outside of our area, but that is the storms that are moving into McMinn and Monroe County. That's that new severe thunderstorm warning that Jacob was showing you just a few moments ago. So there's all of that lightning. I'm turning that off for you just so you can see some of the heaviest of that rain. We're definitely starting to hear it now in Bearden, so we are dealing with the heavy rain. I could hear lots of thunder with that as well. Let's track out maybe this leading edge that's moving out of Oak Ridge. Again, we haven't gotten any more of those warnings to move throughout Knox County. A little bit shocking. We could be seeing more of those. Again, I'm trying to get this out as far as I can for you. Let me reset that. That was not good. All right, Oak Ridge here. Let's check out this severe thunderstorm that's moving through Oak Ridge that could be clipping parts of northern Knox County. So that's moving into Halls there at 218, Holston River at 227, Kodak at 242, and then Jefferson City closer to about 255 there. It doesn't look like they're reissuing this morning right here. I think this one's set to expire soon-ish. Again, they're all kind of running together at this point. A lot of them expire anywhere from 2 to 2:15. Still tracking this really heavy rain. This is the one Ben was talking about where there's some of those really gusty winds moving into the Dandridge area. Another thing we need to keep an eye on, and we've been seeing this heavy rain in and around the Dandridge area for a while, so the potential for flash flooding is there with those gusty winds. So just keep that in mind as we head into the next couple of hours, really riding right along 81 here, and then from Dandridge to Strawberry Plains, this is continuing to push more towards the south and east, so that's going to be moving into parts of northern Greene to Cott County. So Newport, you are in that severe thunderstorm warning, and like Ben was telling you with the watches and the warnings, if you're in a warning, let's treat it just as serious as it is. Be in your safe place. These winds are no joke. Straight line winds can do just as much damage as a tornado can. So we're going to take these pretty seriously heading into the next couple of hours. Really keeping an eye on these storms. These are the ones that have a history of producing really gusty winds just outside of our area. So this is riding right along 75 into Athens and Madisonville. You might be able to hear the rain on our microphones as it's starting to pick up here in West Knoxville. So this is going to continue to move east at about 50 miles per hour. So we are seeing the heaviest of the rain, the really gusty winds moving into Madisonville at 211, Von Orr at 221, Lanier at 230, Look Rock at 240, and then Walland at 250. That's where the severe thunderstorm warnings are continuing to push in. So again, McMinn, Monroe, Blunt, even into Sevier, you're not out of the woods yet. We still got a couple, really about an hour or so or more of these storms continuing to push in your area. Let's kind of backtrack here, showing you where that heavy rain is. So we do have parts of West Knox County. We're not in a severe thunderstorm warning here in Bearden, but I can tell we got really heavy rain, thunder and lightning. You're seeing that Clinton to Oak Ridge. It's starting to push out of your area. Union County looking pretty good. I know earlier you guys were in multiple warnings, so really just seeing northeast Knox County and then into really far west Knox County too, kind of more towards that Farragut side, seeing that really heavy rain kind of moving in. You can see that heavy rain into Oak Ridge as well. Here's another look as we look back towards Morristown. Dandridge, I want to put a kind of a big track on here for this one. Again, we kind of have to zoom back out to get a decent track on some of these, just because these are kind of bigger, more complex storms here. So let me move this camera for you and put this nice big track really from Strawberry Plains, and then that includes really Cock to Greene County, kind of tracking out when these storms are going to be moving into your area. I think they are moving a little bit more southeast now. Maybe Jacob can confirm that with me. They look like they're moving a little bit more southeast.
I was going to say that one definitely up near Dandridge. I was looking at the velocities, and they're definitely kind of jog south and east, heading right towards Newport. Yeah,
so I think, and these are going to move into an area that's had a lot of energy. Ben was just explaining that to you. So really Sevier County this morning, I think at like 8 a.m., you guys had a lot of sunshine. So there's a lot of energy to play with as these storms move into areas like Sevier County, Greene to Cock County. So Newport right on your front door. You need to be in that safe place. Kodak at 210, Paint Rock at 221, Hartford at 228, and then Walnut at 236. That's when this line of those strong to severe thunderstorms are going to push in. Again, an area that has not seen a whole lot of that activity quite yet. So I think this could even be pushing closer to Sevier County here in the next little bit. Let me actually get a track for you in Sevier County, because I'm sure you guys are wondering, what about me? So you kind of have storms coming at you from the east and then coming at you kind of just a little bit more towards the north of that. So I'm going to track out, I think this leading edge that's in Strawberry Plains could clip parts of Sevier County, and then the western part of Sevier County, I think you're going to get more of those eastern storms. Kind of putting a good track on there for you. So the storm that's in parts of Strawberry Plains, that's moving in near Smoky Stadium. 209, so Kodak there 210. Sevierville could start to see some of those strong to severe thunderstorms moving into your area. 225, Caton there at 236, and then Pittman Center at 243. If you are in West Knoxville right now, what you're hearing is not a severe storm, just really heavy rain as of now, but it looks like we are continuing to track more of those severe storms as we head out really towards McMinn, Monroe County. Kind of watching those next. I'm going to put a big old track on this, because those could be pushing in to parts of Blunt and Sevier County. And again, that's an area that really hasn't seen a whole lot of anything yet. So once those storms move in, there's a lot of energy to play off of. Like I said, Ben was kind of explaining that earlier. It's just been hot and humid, a whole lot of sunshine today. So here's when we're expected to see some of those severe storms moving into your area. So Madisonville, 212, Von Orr at 223, Look Rock at 247, Walland at 256, and then closer to Obermountain at 320. Definitely don't let your guard down, though, if these storms do start to speed up. Of course, the timing can change on this as we head into really the next couple of hours here. Let's zoom back out again. I don't think, no, we are not under a warning here in Knoxville. If Jacob or Ben wants to do a recap on some of these warnings when they expire, I think a couple of them expire maybe in the next 15 minutes, and maybe an update on the National Weather Service. Jacob, anything from them?
Yeah, so talking with the National Weather Service, as you've been kind of alluding to, Paige, the fact that these storms are moving into untapped air, so they've seen a lot of sunshine out there ahead of this. This is the locations that we're going to expect these storms to actually re-intensify a little bit. And looking at some of the winds, we have definitely noticed that there's a little bit of an uptick in and around Madisonville, and by far the strongest is back up towards Dandridge as well as Newport. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to actually turn off the radar, and we'll try to go through and talk about each of these warnings because there are quite a bit of them, and then we'll kind of talk about when they expire. So this is Loudoun, McMinn, as well as Monroe counties. This goes until 2:30, so it does include Athens to Madisonville. So we've got about 30 more minutes with this particular storm as it moves through. Once again, this is going to be moving into some untapped air, so it's probably going to re-intensify a little bit. You still have this particular severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 as well. And well, there's a new warning that was just issued, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. This is going to include downtown Knoxville, including here at the station. So this is going to go until 3 o'clock. But this warning here, this is till 2:30. Anderson, Morgan, Rowan, Scott counties, as well as western portions of Knox. That's going to go until 2:30. Includes areas like Wartburg to Kingston to Oak Ridge. These locations are getting hit pretty hard. Still a severe thunderstorm warning out for portions of northern Cumberland and southern Fentress County. This is until 1:15 Central Time. So this has got about 10 minutes left. 2:15 Eastern. Cumberland, Fentress, never mind. They went ahead and canceled that one. That's always great news whenever the National Weather Service just kind of reads your mind a little bit. So that warning is now gone. So we're finally beginning to trim some of these back, but it's here that we're going to be dealing with quite a bit. So this new severe thunderstorm warning, I go in real tight to get it. Hopefully I can zoom out just a little bit. That way you can see what's happening here. But this particular one includes Clinton to Halls to Knoxville to Seymour to Kodak, back over to Lenoir City, Turkey Creek, Oak Ridge. You're all under this severe thunderstorm warning until 3 o'clock this afternoon, of course, as this line continues to push through. It's the same line that produced 64-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Crossville. So it means business. It's got several power outages and trees down. We'll have an update from meteorologist Ben Cathy as well as Brittany Tarwater come up here in just a minute on those numbers. In particular, you have this severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15. So this one's got 10 minutes. This is Cott, Greene, Hamblin, and Hawkins County. It does include areas like Greenville to Mohawk to Morristown, back up to Bean Station, and then one of the newer severe thunderstorm warnings now including Dandridge as well as Newport. I have to zoom in real tight to Cherokee Lake, and hopefully it'll pop up. This one's until 2:45 for Cock, as well as Granger, Hamblin, and Jefferson counties. Jefferson City, Blaine. We've gotten several reports of some small hail coming out of Blaine, at least at the moment. So I'm going to pop up the radar once again, show you where these particular severe thunderstorm warnings are. You can see just a wide range, and we'll look at some of the velocities because some of this is going to push into downtown Knoxville coming up over the next couple of minutes. You can see some really strong winds in and around Oak Ridge. You'll probably see the trees shaking out there. This is heading towards the east at about 50 miles per hour. Should impact areas near Bearden here at the station, back into downtown Knoxville as we head closer towards the top of the hour. And really some of the strongest winds, as we've been kind of alluding to, are up with this particular storm in and around Dandridge to Newport. So you can see some of the winds thankfully have come down just a little bit. Hopefully that trend will continue. But bottom line, these storms are capable of producing some very damaging wind gusts as well as taking out some of that power. And the meteorologist Ben Cathy has been keeping up with a close watch on some of those numbers. Ben?
Yeah, the big thing with this is the severe thunderstorm wind potential. We've already had gusts to 64, numerous reports of straight line wind damage. Just to set the scene here as we come up right after 2 o'clock now, no immediate tornado warnings. We've got a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings. Paige, Jacob have taken you on a tour of what is happening now and what is about to happen over the next 30 or so minutes. But I want to take you a little farther into the first alert. Here's the clock. 2 o'clock under the word Futurecast. Notice you got this purple color that's very high intensity on rainfall. That is going to push into Knox County during this 2 o'clock hour, heading into the 3 o'clock hour. These start to become a little bit more clustered. You see a little bit of rotation up here towards the Tri-Cities, which we just had near Mohawk and Mossheim, western parts of Greene County. So there is a little bit more shear spin of the atmosphere up there. All right, so by 2 to 2:30, we're seeing these storms push through Knoxville, then Madisonville, Monroe, McMinn County, and into the foothills, where there's also quite a bit of lift happening this afternoon. Little bit of better, more refreshing news. Yes, I know that recess, camp, school has largely, in many cases, been let out. It's towards the end of the day. This is pushing out of here, though. You say, okay, whew. Good news, Ben. It's 4:30. We're all done, right? But I want to take your eye to Jamestown here because there is going to be a little slug of moisture. And this is the map that's been doing the best job. This is the view at 5:30 up into Scott County, northern parts at Campbell, heading into Whitley. This could track and then spot a couple more showers and thunderstorms near Claiborne County. So gusts right now, you just heard the one in Crossville, 64. It's back down. It was just to 45. Now it's to 30. So all of those leftover big gusts could still produce some wind damage after that first major wave. South Valley here, that is the potential area for more big winds. 24-mile-an-hour gust in Knoxville. That's McGee-Tyson Airport. Let's look at the future here. This was 3, 4 o'clock. We could have gusts 50 to 60, even 70 miles an hour in the valley along the I-75 corridor, then pushing down 321, pushing down 129 around this next hour. That's really the bullseye. And then even through the early evening, look, it just stays pretty breezy in the back of these storms. So some clear air wind damage is also possible up until about 8:30. And let's take a look at this, the power outage index. This has so far proven to be the biggest issue. We have about 15,000 plus power outages, if my math is correct, and I've got it written down here. But by 2 o'clock, notice this, likely to see some power outages in this red color. So don't be surprised. This is why I want you to have a backup way to get our warning. So whether it is a battery-powered NOAA weather radio, let me pop up our WVLT Facebook live coverage. You can see that is Jacob on TV right there. He's been on now for a couple hours, and so Paige has been joining him too. That will run off your phone's battery and the nearby internet. So that's a good way to get up-to-date information if and when you do lose power. Anyways, here's the future. 3 o'clock here. This is moving into Cott County up to the Tri-Cities, but especially towards the Jefferson severe line and towards Seymour by 3 p.m. Numerous power outages still possible up here on the plateau, and we've seen a bunch of those happening. Again, after 4 o'clock, a lot of this is underway, but at last check, 4,350 customers without power in Cumberland County, and there's a lot more in our other counties. So for details on that, let's get over to Brittany Tarwater, who's got a lot of reports from many of you.
All right, Ben, thanks a lot. Yeah, we want to get to what it looks like outside. So we'll start with some of the video and some of the pictures that you all have been sending in to us when it is safe to do so. This is Emma reporting heavy rain in Coreyton. We also have rain coming in from Tracy sending us this video from Morristown, and we can hear this right now on our rooftop at the station here in the Bearden area, but this is what it looks like in Morristown from Tracy. Then Lisa is showing us clouds that are over 10 mile, those dark clouds that we see. Cody reporting from Jefferson County by Highway 92. We're seeing the rain there, some dark clouds in that area. Beautiful picture, but very ominous with those clouds there. And then Jenny reporting from Maynardville, showing us what it looks like in her backyard. Jenny, thank you for sending these pictures to us. Daryl in Whitesburg is looking over Rutledge Pike towards Blaine, seeing dark clouds there. Look at these dark clouds. Some of you may be seeing something similar to this. This is on Rutledge Pike looking towards Blaine. Also on our Facebook page, we're getting some pictures, some video from you. Hail. Todd and Dory are showing us hail. And Jennifer in Pikeville we showed you this a couple of minutes ago, but I want to come back to it because those there, you can see those moving. Those are cows moving downhill. Jennifer sent us this video from Pikeville. These are really helpful pictures, videos, so that we can see. We have our whole team who's working here inside, but we also want to see what it looks like outside so we can share those videos with all of you. Just another effort to keep all of you safe. Now, we are watching damage in the area. Before we get to that, here is the power outages. A lot of you are dealing with no power right now, especially if you have Volunteer Energy. There are almost 20,000 people subscribing to Volunteer Energy who are right now without power, notably in Cumberland County. More than 7,000 people are without power in Cumberland County. Meigs County, almost 3,000 people in Ray County. 5,600 people are without power in Roane County. More than 1,000 people are without power, totaling in that area to almost 19,000 people. So severe power outages. If you are subscribing to Volunteer Energy, we are going to keep an eye out on how that changes. Let's check in Knoxville, KUB. Most people have power, but a little over 600, almost 650 people who are KUB customers are right now without power. We will keep an eye on power outages numbers there, as that, of course, is fluctuating as these storms are moving through the area. But circling back to damage, we have some reports coming in from the fire department in Fentress County. The fire department reporting downed trees, downed power lines, trees on top of cars. We are checking on that right now. We're making some calls there. That is reported from the fire department on Martha Washington Road. So I say that to say, if that is in your area, part of your commute, heads up that there could be some downed trees. That is reported earlier. Just getting a report here confirming that information. Per dispatch, we just talked to them, our Will Puckett inside the newsroom. A tree down on a car with someone inside on Martha Washington Road. Of course, we will continue to monitor that situation, but if Martha Washington Road is part of where you live, your commute, that may be an area that you want to avoid. Of course, we're going to check on the safety of that person and the situation that is in Fentress County right now. Also in Clark Range, they have trees down everywhere in Fentress County. That is what we are checking with officials who are telling us. Trees down in Clark Range, Campbell County, Caryville. We are also seeing trees down in those areas. No reports of damage from the trees in Campbell County and Caryville, but we will keep an eye on that as that continues to change. Some schools, as we know, have gone back to school today. Have been released early. The reports that we've gotten, it is now 2:15 almost. Most of those schools that were released early have already done so for the day, but we are getting a note that Cumberland County schools, if the storm has not passed by the time Cumberland County schools is set to be dismissed, which is 2:45 Central Time, 3:45 Eastern Time, then the bus loading could be delayed. So heads up to parents, those who pick up, that loading could be delayed, but meteorologist Jacob Durham and I have been talking about that. The storm should be moved out of that area by that time, 2:45 Central Time, 3:45 Eastern Time, Cumberland County. Just heads up for school area folks. The bus loading could be delayed if there is still some residual storms in that area. But we will, of course, keep an eye on that, as we will with all of these storms as they move through East Tennessee. You can keep up on the WVLT News app and on our WVLT Facebook page and WVLT.tv. Anywhere you get us, we will have all of this updated information as far as power outages, damage goes. And then, of course, thank you all for sending those pictures and those videos to us. Jacob, let's get back to you as you're continuing to watch this story.
Yeah, Brittany, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning that's come out, and this is going to go, trying to filter through all these. This is going to go until 3:15. Now, this is for Cock, Greene, Hawkins counties until 3:15, and meteorologist Paige Noel and I, as well as meteorologist Pink Kathy, we've been keeping a close watch on this one. This is in Greene County. This is just north of Greenville. The National Weather Service is noting this as well, but there is some broad rotation with it, kind of tightening up. Anytime you see this little bit of a calm ahead, it's easy to get a quick little spin up, so they're monitoring, and if it gets a little bit tighter, they could prompt a tornado warning for portions of Greene County. But bottom line, you can see all of this strong winds just kind of surging out. We've also got flash flood warnings now coming out for areas that have been hit very hard with the heavy rainfall. You can see that there in the green shading. That would indicate areas in and around portions of Dandridge. Not just outside of Newport, it does include Morristown as well, where the heavy rainfall has been for quite some time. But if we're talking about areas of rotation, it's going to be right there in and around Greenville. There's a little bit of a notch. You can see it kind of moving out. You got the reds going away from the radar, greens coming in. And so that little area right there could be something that we have to watch for the potential of a brief spin-up tornado. With that severe thunderstorm warning, they have a tornado possible tag in it, winds of 60 miles per hour, as well as hail of 1 inch diameter. And I'll kind of zoom out for you and kind of clear the things, and then we'll toss it over to meteorologist Paige Noel, who's tracking the storms that are moving through downtown Knoxville, as we're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3 o'clock. So still quite a bit going on here in the next couple of hours, but there's a little bit of a hook there just north of Greenville. This will be heading over towards the Tri-Cities pretty shortly, but lots of showers and storms going on, strong damaging winds, lots of reports coming in as well of downed trees across the area. Once again, as Brittany alluded to, thank you for sending in those reports, but we'll send it over to Paige, who's tracking those showers and storms as well.
Yeah, Jacob, here's a look at that flash flood warning Jacob was just telling you about. Just want to give you a good picture of it. Tornado warning? All right, we just got a tornado warning. Let's go to that. I think that's for that exact storm that Jacob was literally just telling you about here. So a tornado warning has been issued. This means you need to get into your safe place now. This is, I think, for Granger County. Yes. So Greene County, into Washington County. That's a little bit outside of our area. So that's going to go until about 2:45. That's just north of Greenville there. Again, this is kind of a little bit moving outside of our area, but Jacob was just showing you those winds. And you can kind of see it here, that notch notch. So it's really moving right along 93 there, and then that's going to continue to track eastward at about 50 to 55 miles per hour here. I'm going to get out of this so I can get a better look at this storm for you and put just a better track on it in general, so we can zoom in on your counties and talk about where the greatest threat for these for this tornado warning again that has just been issued for Greene County. Jacob was just showing you some of that too, kind of those notches there. I'm going to zoom in really good on this for you guys. All right, you can see it's just north of Greenville. If you're in Greenville, though, if you live just a little bit north of that city, you need to be in your safe place. This is moving really right along 93 right now, and then that's going to continue to move into Raytown, I believe is what it's called. So let's check out this little notch for you. Jacob, this is moving east at about 50, 55 miles per hour, correct? I think that's what the National Weather Service
They have
said.
this one now moving slower at 25.
Okay, and it's moving a whole lot slower. All right, so that is moving towards Raytown there at 233. Then it's going to be moving into the Telford area at 257, Big Cherokee there at 310. Again, this is in the Greene County area, just north of the city. You need to be into that safe place. Let's zoom in a little bit more. I know this area is a little bit more on that rural side, but we are going to zoom in on it and of course stay with it. If you know anyone in the Greene County area, call, let them know that this is in their area. So this is right along again 91 to, I think that says 11 east. I know it's a little bit harder to read there, from Tusculum up to Babbs Mill. There's that 93. That's really where that hook, you can see that hook kind of right there. Jacob was just showing you that. So usually when we see that, that typically indicates on radar that there could possibly be a tornado. Of course, this is all radar indicated. So moving towards Raytown here and riding right along just a little bit north there of 11 east. If you're in the Greenville community or the city, I think you need to be in that safe place right now. And then that's going to continue. It's really just in between Greenville and that Babbs Mill right along 93. There's that notch there of where we are seeing the greatest of that rotation potentially. And then that's going to continue to ride right along 11 east into the Raytown community, into Tusculum. Again, this is just a little bit more north of Alexander Mill in the Greene County area, really right along 93. I'm going to send it back to Jacob. Jacob, do you have a look at that velocity for us? I know it was looking pretty nasty right before they issued that tornado warning.
Yeah, Paige, I do. You can see it right here. Very strong winds regardless. If there's a tornado on the ground, it's going to be causing some damage. It's going to bring down some of those trees and power lines. You can see that wind really surging out there in and around Greenville at the moment. We'll switch it over to another reflectivity, and you can see that it's not quite as intense as what it was just about 2 scans ago, but still enough of a notch that the National Weather Service is erring on the side of caution that they issued that tornado warning for Greene County as it's moving over into portions of Washington County as well. This is until 2:45. Once again, it's kind of out of our viewing region, but we still have a few viewers that may get us in Greenville or at least maybe online. And I was looking at the correlation coefficient. It's kind of hard to tell, but it does look like there might be a little bit of a drop there just to the south of Greenville. It's kind of hard. It's not a telltale sign, but it has kind of been a little bit more pronounced over the last scan. So you can see it was kind of smaller than it really wasn't anything, and then kind of pulse back up again. So we want to watch that one very closely for you just in case, because it is on that leading edge, and it looks like they issued another severe thunderstorm. This is going to be McMinn, Monroe County, and severe until 2:45. So kind of zoom back out, just show you that real quick. Obviously, the biggest concern would be that tornado warning. It is kind of outside of our viewing region on that outer edge, but it's still dangerous enough that we're going to have to watch it. And by severe county, it's a very, very small sliver of that. Just to the west of Gatlinburg, this is including Look Rock to Cades Cove. It includes Maryville now to Knoxville, and we'll take a look at some of those velocities as well. This here is just going to be kind of a straight line wind threat that we're going to be dealing with. You can see those are anywhere between maybe 40 to 50 to 60 miles per hour wind gust as well, and then kind of sliding back to the north. There's also a little bit of rotation. Meteorologist being Kathy and I was talking about maybe towards West Knox, but kind of now it's a little bit more broad. It looks like very gusty winds, straight lined winds there, of course, as this continues to move through. So a very active day. We'll clear this and kind of reset things, and then we'll toss it back to meteorologist Paige Noel, who's keeping a close watch on these showers and storms at the moment. Once again, that tornado warning for Greene as well well as Washington counties until 2:45. Also got flash flood warnings out there, very heavy rainfall falling through Knoxville as well. So if you could wait just a little bit to get out, it's probably the best to do so, especially here Knoxville along I-40 with the ponding on the roadways. I promise you things will improve over the next couple of hours. But looking at some of these velocities, Paige, still looking quite concerning there in Greenville. We'll take one more look at the CC, and it's kind of gone too.
Yeah,
so
that's hard to see.
Yeah, kind of hard to see there, but Paige, you're still tracking these showers and storms for us as well as they move into Knoxville.
Yeah, just so you know, that CC kind of helps us be able to tell maybe if a tornado did develop. Usually we can kind of see that. So that's what Jacob said. It's kind of hard to tell right now, but more than anything, there's those really gusty winds. Lots of lightning too, kind of resetting you here as we are tracking really lots of you deal with those rain and storms. Let's zoom in on Knoxville. It is very noisy here in Bearden right now, so you can see where the heaviest of that rain is. I'm going to track out some of this for you just for those that aren't in Greene County. We'll get back to that tornado warning for you in just a little bit. But let's talk about Sevier County because you guys are next. South Doyle moving into your area, at least kind of this really noisy stuff that we are hearing right now. You might be able to hear it over our microphones in South Doyle. Seymour at 235, 250 Kodak, your 309 Dandridge to 318 in English Mountain, kind of tracking out this one. Maryville, you're just now getting hit with probably those really gusty winds and some of that heavy rain, and again, very, very noisy. So this is going to start to move into Maryville right now. Alcoa, basically the next couple of minutes. Wildwood there at 234. Knob Creek at 246. Gatlinburg at 306. We got some really gusty winds that are pushing into parts of the Bearden area right now. We can really hear it on the roof here. So just kind of if you are in and around the Knoxville area, you need to be inside, kind of in your safe place. Be away from those windows as we are getting a pretty big burst of some really heavy rain. Let's check out this bottom edge of this really line of those strong to severe storms. Again, moving into Sevier County. I'm sure all of you are about, what about my town? Blockhouse at 231, Wallen 241, Wares Valley 253, Gatlinburg again 306, and the Pittman Center at about 315. I'm moving down towards McMinn, Monroe County. We've had a history of this storm. We've had actually getting a lot of reports from Bledsoe County, just a little bit outside of our area. Multiple trees down. I think Jacob just went outside to go look at these storms that are really strong as they're pushing into parts of West Knox County now. I'm going to track out kind of this leading edge as it's going to continue to push east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour once again. So that's moving Cades Cove, going to be on your front door at 251. Gatlinburg there 313, and then Pittman Center at about 320. These are, I think, starting to actually move a little bit more towards the southeast now. Let's get you back to that tornado warning. I don't really see that hook too much anymore. We were tracking that for you just a little bit north of Greenville, but definitely some really heavy rain and gusty winds. Kind of hard to see with all of this heavy rain, but again, right along 93 there, Babs Mill to Tusculum to Raytown. You guys need to be in that safe place, riding right along 11E. That's where we're seeing that's tornado warning. I think this tornado warning goes until 2:45. Thank you, Jacob. So we're going to continue to watch that. Morristown just said very strong velocity signature, so just really gusty winds with that storm moving through Knox County. Jacob, do you have a look at that velocity in Knox County? Because I mean, I heard it here. It sounded really nasty.
Yeah, I can confirm. I'm having to take my jacket off because when I went to get a video and look outside, it was coming down in just sheets and the wind was just whipping. We'll take a look at the velocity really quick. I would have to say it was blowing probably between 50 to 60 miles per hour outside of our station and just kind of driving it in sheets. And you can see here right over downtown Knoxville, really in Bearden where we're at now, those strong signatures. It looks almost kind of like maybe a little bit of a downburst signature or a microburst signature there right over Bearden. I promise you that you don't want to be out in this. I was just trying to get a quick little video so we can post on social to show you what we were getting, and I just got blown around. The door flew open and everything. So very heavy rainfall out there at the moment. So you're going to need to take this very seriously. We just got the severe thunderstorm warnings capable of producing some considerable damage and destructive damage. In fact, this one's for Anderson Blunt. this is for our area. This was at 2:24, so 2 minutes ago. Tornado is possible. They said thunderstorm damage threat is destructive. That's the tag they're using. So they're indicating that this could potentially be causing some very widespread power outages, could be causing major trees down and things like that. So this is something to take very seriously. But looking at the latest velocity signatures on this, it definitely looks like there could be a microburst or something of some sorts with very strong winds right over Bearden right now, over 40. I highly suggest don't get out and try to travel. Let this pass before you do. I promise you, most of this will be over by the time you're heading home from work. But right now, the worst of the weather is right over downtown Knoxville at the moment, over towards Bearden, and I would suggest that power outages are probably going to creep up across Knox County. Ben, I know you were looking at some of those TDOT roadway maps. If we have some of those, and of course some of the road conditions that we're seeing across the region.
Yeah, Jacob, and a lot of you are probably getting something like this. It is a auto alert sent to your phone if you're in the Knox County area. This is for that rare destructive tag. That's winds at or even above 80 miles an hour. And it was some of the heaviest winds that we've heard in my 5 years here at WVLT. So I want to take you out here. This is just to the west of Kingston. There's debris on the roadway 40 eastbound in Roane County. That is at mile marker 349. That's at 2:05 Eastern or 1:05 Central Time. If we can, Savannah, take you out a little bit farther to the west. Can we go the other way real fast? I want to show you what is out to the west of Crossville. And so let's just go a little bit farther, right up here. There is also debris in the roadway up in the western part of Cumberland County. So if we can click on this triangle for us, there was debris going westbound. And so you see that really crimson color. That is debris on the roadway, and it is also closed on I-40 westbound at the mile marker 309. That happened at 1:41 Eastern Time. A little 30 minutes ago or so, or 12:41. Let's take you back into Knoxville. Let's take you to some of these cameras because, as Jacob and Paige were saying, if you don't have to be out right now, my goodness, this is not the time to go exploring. Rain has come down incredibly heavy. So I want to take you to what we're seeing at Middlebrook. This is where a lot of the strongest winds. Man, look at that water standing on the road. It is much slower heading back this way. So this is Middlebrook right there. We also, if we can, take you, let's see, right over here. One of these downtown cameras a little bit closer to Emory Place and Hall of Fame. There is a lot of congestion. That is nearly whiteout conditions. This is happening at the 5th Avenue area, so heading into East Knoxville. And man, that is, you could barely see the tractor trailer coming towards your screen, and you really can't see the traffic going away, plus the debris wash. So conditions are honestly pretty treacherous. Traffic slowed to half the speed. This is some serious hydroplaning risk. Again, we're just getting that alert for the Knox County storm with a destructive tag. So chances are we are going to see some pretty substantial power outages in the Knoxville area. We've already had about 5,000 in Cumberland County, 4,000 plus up towards Campbell County, Ray County, 1,500 plus power outages. Savannah in the back, if you want to take us to a couple more cameras just to kind of show you what it's like out there, then we'll get you some alerts. Again, we're watching that tornado warning for Greene County, really just outside of our coverage area. Some of these cameras, I think, honestly, the wind is knocking them out. So our folks in the back, Christy, Tom, Savannah, look at that. Appreciate y'all. Look at the wake that is coming off of this, and then you'll see it even more from this 18-wheeler. That is, oh my goodness. And then this poor guy in the white SUV or the van coming behind it is just having to deal with that. So there's standing water all over the place. This is 640 going eastbound near Nora. Again, some of the wind has taken these TDOT cameras out. So just we're doing this on the fly. 640 at Broadway. Again, it looks like same thing, but what we're seeing right now is torrential rainfall, extremely high winds, hydroplaning risk, power outage risk, and more. And so I think the reason these cameras are struggling to load is because this is right where the wind signature is in North Knox County. And that is the view at High School in 275. Look at this right here. 2 cars, 2 trucks have pulled off to the side. They're about to merge back on at the 2.4 mile marker. And then when you've got these guys trying to merge in, that is not a very good day. Look on the other side. Look at the wakes thrown up by that. Again, this is 275 at High School. And we've got quite a bit of traffic. This area is a little less heavy than others have seen, but still. And this guy is going, look at that. A car looks like it spun out right there, going the wrong direction. This is 40 westbound at the 398. So this is right towards the Knox-Sevier County line. And our producer just picked that camera randomly, I believe. So we're seeing things like this play out all across the map. I do want to get you back to radar. So y'all tell me, Paige, let's go to Paige Noel as we take a look at some of these traffic maps. Paige?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Here's a look at that radar right now. Can confirm there are, I know, a lot of you without power. Both my parents, my brother and sister all texted that they were without power. So that is from Blount County up into parts of West Knox County. My husband texted me, told me that power keeps flickering at our house, kind of in the West Hills area. So I know a lot of you might be watching us maybe on your phones now as a lot of this heavy rain continues to move into your area. I do want to remind you, we'll get to those storms in a second. We do have a flash flood warning. This until 4:15, really including Dandridge, really right along 81, kind of merging there into 40 and throughout the Dandridge up into parts of just a little bit south of Morristown. So yes, that flash flooding is a threat. We talked about that earlier this morning. Of course, not the biggest threat, but definitely a threat, especially with this heavy rain falling right now. Here's a look at that live radar. I do think the heaviest is starting to push out of West Knox, not sounding as nasty above me, but I do want to track out because those winds, we heard them here, they're nasty, and they're going to continue to push into a good portion of our area. So let's check out the leading edge of those. Let me kind of stand back here. So these are continuing to push towards the east. So Kodak, you're about to get in on some really gusty winds at 247, Dumplin there at 255, Dandridge at 308, English Mountain at 318, and then Newport at 328. Let's check out this leading edge. It's starting to move out of Blount County. And again, these really strong storms are pushing into Sevier County right now. Knob Creek at 237, Sevierville 255, Pittman Center at 310, English Mountain 320, Newport on your front door there at 332. Kind of moving down here into parts of that southern Blount County as this continues to push into the Gatlinburg area. Again, these are moving east anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour. Let me redraw that for you. That was not good. So moving kind of out of the Look Rock area, just now starting to move out of the Maryville area. I know storms are pretty nasty. My parents are in the Friendsville area. They texted me and said power's out there. Townsend 242, Wares Valley 251, Gatlinburg 303, Pittman Center 312, English Mountain 325. Really all Sevier County need prepared because we're tracking those really gusty winds to start to move into our area. I'm kind of glancing at some of our Sevier County cameras. We don't see much yet, but we'll continue to watch those. We got a lot of counties. We got a lot of cameras over into parts of Pigeon Forge and Sevier County. Maybe you guys check the monster camera if you want to see if we're seeing any of those storms. We're getting some reports, I think, down towards McMinn and Monroe County of some of that heavier rain, potentially some of those really gusty winds as well, pushing out of the Madisonville area. And then we were just seeing that line. It is actually starting to sound a little bit better here in Bearden. Still want to go back to this tornado warning. I think this expired. Did this expire? Jacob says yes. Okay, so that expired. We had a tornado warning in Greene County. It's, again, hard to see some of those boxes at times, but that has pushed off into parts of the Tri-City. So that's some good news for them. I'll kind of go back out here. Let's check out some of this really heavy. This is that main line that just pushed through parts of Knox County. If you're in Knox County, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Really gusty winds. Tracking out this leading edge as it continues to push into Sevier County, Cock to Jefferson County here in the next little bit. So moving towards Boyd's Creek at 244, Douglas Lake at 310, English Mountain at 316, Newport 325, Dixie Highway at 334. It's kind of a new radar scan that just came in, and then zooming back out towards that McMinn and Monroe County. I kind of want to go back here and give you a better overview. There's some of that early heavy rain move pushing into far east Knox County right now. So this is riding right along 40 and then up into Halls there. Looks like we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me take you straight to that. It'll take a second to kind of reissue there, but we are tracking multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. So it looks like this one might be a little bit more for the north here. Let's see if I can get it to go. There it goes. Severe thunderstorm warning. I think it might be up towards right along 75 up into parts of, yep, I was correct. So right into Campbell County, Union, you're back in a severe thunderstorm warning into parts of Claiborne County. I think that includes parts of Granger County as well. Again, it's not kind of popping up here. Let me zoom it back out. I don't know what time this goes until, but we got more of those gusty winds, really that heavy rain pushing back into the area. 3:30. Thank you, Jacob. Let me zoom in this one back out for you, just so we can get a better view of it. We had that warning on it, so you couldn't really see. So yeah, we're getting more of those severe storms pushed back into Union County. I know I told you guys earlier you were looking good, but we got another round of those storms really pushing in. These are moving east. I would assume still at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Okay, so that's going to be pushing into Maynardville at 2:44. So here in about less than 10 minutes, Sharp Chapel at 2:48, Big Barron at 2:58, New Tazewell at 3:10, and then Thornhill at 3:21. We got really heavy rain right along the La Follette area, so kind of right along 75, and then starting to push more into parts of Claiborne County to Union County, and then into Granger County as well. Could see this into that New Tazewell area closer to about 3:10 as these continue to push towards the east. Remember, these winds could gust up to 60, 70 miles per hour. We got really, really heavy rain falling, potentially some hail. We haven't gotten many reports of hail, but these storms definitely could produce some hail as we head into kind of the next couple of hours here. Here's some of that really heavy rain now starting to move out of Blount County, and then that's going to continue to push into Sevier County. So this is really the beginning of the severe weather event for you in Sevier County, really all the way riding 411 and then into parts of Pigeon Forge to Gatlinburg, all the way down into Klingsman's Dome as this line of those rain and storms push in. I'll put actually a really big track on this for you guys so you can see exactly when it's going to be in your town. Again, these are moving east at about anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour. So Cades Cove there, 239, really right on your front door. Gatlinburg, close to about 3 o'clock. Mount LeConte, 307. English Mountain, 311. Dixie Highway, 328. Go ahead and be in that safe place. We're getting a lot of reports of definitely some power outages, but some downed trees as well. Those can fall into your house. Those can fall into your car. So you just need to be in that safe place right now as we track these really gusty straight line winds for you. Let's kind of go back out. We'll go to McMinn, Monroe County. I think they're probably going to let some of those alerts go. I think a lot of alerts might expire right around 2:45, so we'll actually give you an update on that in just a second. But it looks like Athens to Madisonville looking better. I think we had some reports in the Madisonville area of some downed trees. Of course, we'll continue to track those reports for you, but still tracking the strongest of those severe storms. But again, Sevier County, this is really just now starting to push into your area. Knox County, we really just got in on those gusty winds in the West Knox to downtown, now moving into East Knox County, really riding right along 40. I'm going to track out some of the gustiest winds there as that continues to push in. There's another severe thunderstorm warning.
Till 3:45.
Till 3:45. It looks like it's kind of the same area. Hard to tell. Of course, we have multiple, but it does include Blount to Greene County. Again, it's kind of an overlapping one, so that's a little bit harder to see here. But I will zoom it out for you and see if we can kind of get a better look at it. Yeah, it's just kind of an overlapping one, so that's a little bit hard, but it's for this nasty line. I'm going to point to this right here. This is what just moved through parts of Bearden, and it was loud and noisy and windy, knocked out power. That's now starting to move into that northern Sevier County, so that's going to continue to move into northern Sevier County to Jefferson and then into Cott County. This is right on track to really hit Newport here. Let me put a nice track on this for you guys, kind of have a better look at really where those gusty winds are. Here we go. Draw this out for you. Again, moving east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So Ober Mountain, it'll be on your front door in about 10 minutes, 251. Gatlinburg, 255. be in that safe place. Newport 316, Dixie Highway at 325, Pines Creek there at 345. We're actually starting to get a little bit better here in West Knox, but this is that storm that just moved there. So Kodak, it's actually right on your front door. You definitely need to be in that safe place, as these storms have a history of producing really, really gusty winds. Jacob, do we have any updates from National Weather Service?
Yeah, a lot of reports of trees and power lines down McMinn to Monroe counties. They just came in. This is from McGee-Tyson there, of a wind gust of 52 knots. So that's about 60, I did the math, 60 miles per hour is what it is. You can see Knoxville, they're at the airport right now, at least on our maps, showing you 47 miles per hour, 33 there in Kingston, 37 in Madisonville. But I will say, as Paige has been alluding to, some of these stronger showers and storms are now pushing into portions of Sevier County, and that's going to bring up those wind gusts there. And speaking of that, let's take a look at those velocities, because still very gusty wind, seeing that same signature that we saw move through portions of Bearden when we heard all of that heavy rainfall and that wind. Those are the locations that we're dealing with those strong storms. You can see it's bowing out quite strong. You've got those storm velocities upwards of 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour up and around Strawberry Plains, that location just north of I-40, now heading into Sevier County as well. So heads up if you're in Pigeon Forge over towards Gatlinburg. This is all generally heading towards your direction. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings out till 3:30 and 3:45 this afternoon. So these warnings are going to go for about another hour. And as we've reported over and over again, they've caused lots of damage, lots of trees down, as well as numerous power outages. Of course, if you have the WVLT First Alert Weather app, we've been keeping you updated there as these storms are continuing to make their way through. Thankfully, no tornado warnings or anything like that, but I'm going to go up to the north. This is out of Blount County. Let's see, that is ASOL station at McGee-Tyson. Okay, that was a 60 mile per hour wind report, and there's a new severe thunderstorm warning that is now out as well. This is going to be for Blount, Monroe, and Sevier counties until 3:15. So basically, take it. This whole line right here is severe warned until at least 3:15, if not later. There's a flash flood warning that includes areas like Dandridge up towards Morristown. You got those strong damaging wind gusts up in and around La Follette as well. Let's take a look at some of those wind speeds, because they were showing some signs of increasing as well. There's a little bit of a kind of kink in there. I don't expect any rotation from it. And you can see just very strong winds just to the east of La Follette right now, heading towards Maynardville. So this is probably bringing down some trees. We've already had history there in Campbell and Claiborne counties of trees down, and we're going to continue to see this pushing off towards the east, and they have issued another flash flood warning. That's for Cott, Granger, Hamblen, and Jefferson counties, and that's going to go until 4:15. So these storms mean business. They're producing very heavy rainfall and lots of damage pictures, and we're, of course, very grateful for you for sending those pictures in to us, as you are being able to just make sure to do it safely. It's very strong winds out there producing very heavy rainfall, and hopefully you're not out trying to drive in this. I know a lot of kids heading back to school today. Knox County goes back tomorrow. Thankfully, haven't seen too many issues. A lot of schools let out early because they knew this was coming. So that's something that we're going to keep a close watch on for you. Of course, if we have any updates on schools, things like that, we'll let you know. But we'll pitch it to Brittany Tarwater. She's tracking numerous pictures as well as updated information coming out with the power outages as these storms move through.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Yeah, we do want to talk first about the damage reports that we are getting and confirming across East Tennessee. The first one we talked about a few minutes ago, a tree falling on top of a car in Fentress County on Martha Washington Road, and officials there are telling us that a person was in fact inside that car. We are still working to get the condition of that person, make sure that person is safe. We're also getting reports of trees down all across East Tennessee, Campbell County. We're getting reports of a tree falling on a car at Oak Ridge National Lab at ORNL, and then Ben was just talking about multiple trees reported down on I-40 East at mile marker 349 in Roane County, with parts of that road being closed. TDOT reporting that information for us. So several reports of trees down all across East Tennessee, and we will continue to monitor that. But we do want to talk about another big story here, which is the power. We'll start with Knoxville Utility Board. KUB, that number is skyrocketing. Not too long ago, about a half an hour ago, it was less than 1,000, and now at last check it was up to almost 50,000 customers without power. And I'm refreshing right now as we speak. 49,000 customers out of power right now. That's just in the Knoxville area. Those who have KUB, nearly 50,000 people without power. We're also looking at volunteer energy. That number is about the same as it has been for the past hour, nearly 19,000 customers. Most of those customers in Cumberland County, about 7,000 customers without power in Cumberland County, almost 3,000 people without power in Meigs County. In Roane County, about 1,000 people. Ray County, almost 6,000 people without power. So we are tracking the number of people who are not getting any power right now across East Tennessee. And then LCB, Lenoir City Utilities Board, is reporting a little over 15,000 people without power. So that number continues to grow. Of course, it's following or tends to follow where the storm is going. We are also keeping an eye on those folks who are without power. Some pictures that we're getting from you. Thank you for sharing this. Ben, you just got this picture in for us. This is from Dan, who's reporting the top of another business has fallen on top of a home. That's what we're looking at. This is in Knoxville. So that structure you're seeing right there, that's a home, and that red line almost, that's the top of the roof essentially from another business nearby that's fallen on top of that home. So our whole team has been warning about these winds. This is the kind of stuff that can happen here, and we're seeing that across East Tennessee. Heavy rain in Crossville. This coming in from Roland. Roland, thank you for sharing this with us. You can see that's just whipping through what looks like a backyard there in Crossville. Emma is showing us heavy rain in Coreyton also. You can see that falling. We're hearing a similar thing on our roof here in Bearden. Heavy rain and wind also reported in Fairfield Glade near Crossville coming in from Kim. Kim, you can see the wind even that's moving the rain in that video there. Heavy rain also coming in from Gale in Coreyton. Thanks for sharing this picture with us. Out of Morristown, we're seeing rain. And then also folks you can also send us pictures on Facebook. This is another really helpful tool. We're seeing just dark, dark clouds. This is in Kingston. Diana sending these to us. And then also clouds near the airport. Kelly is showing us what it looks like over near the airport. Dark clouds there. Also dark in Halls. Charity, we've seen your pictures. Appreciate you sending those in to us. Morristown, Jefferson City, Stephanie, Todd, and Dory are also showing us hail in that area. So we do appreciate you sending us the pictures. We're seeing lots of different things from across East Tennessee. Please send those to us if you can, if it's safe to do so. You can do it on Facebook. You can also do it. It's really easy to do it through your WVLT News app or on WVLT.tv. A quick reminder, though, as we are talking about power outages, a lot of folks without power, we want to keep you safe the best way that we can. You can also download the WVLT First Alert weather app. This is a really helpful tool, especially if you are at risk of losing power. You can get the most updated information straight to your phone from our team of meteorologists who are really working hard to keep you safe. And if you just point the camera function on your phone at that little QR code, it'll take you straight to where you can download the First Alert weather app. Of course, it's free. Want to do our best to keep you and your family safe. Let's get to our meteorologist, Ben Cathy, who is looking at what you need to know.
Well, Brittany, we are still technically under that tornado watch, so I think we'll see this peeled back. This is now mostly a straight line wind threat, but just to reiterate, most of the rainfall is going to be wrapping up by 5 o'clock. There's going to be a last little bit here up along the Tennessee-Kentucky border as we head closer to 8, 9 o'clock. But for a lot of you, the worst is over. So let's talk about where the storm threat for now is laxing. Most of Campbell County, there is still a couple of miles of a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's see, most of Scott County for now, and as well as Fentress County, Cumberland. So if you're going to go out and pick up some damage, the lightning has now passed you. But you see what I'm saying about the straight line wind damage threat? A classic squall with the meso low hook back on it like a comma head. So there could be some persisting wind damage in the Claiborne County area. We also have this, a flash flood warning. That is for standing water. Please, if you cannot see the bottom of the road, do not try to drive across it as we head into parts of Knox County, just a tiny little sliver there. Much of Union County, along with Granger County, there is an ongoing flooding threat right there. Doesn't take much, as little as 6 inches of water to wash folks away with the current. Let's walk you north to south. Severe thunderstorm warning till 3:45. It's now 2:50. There are 55 minutes to go on this. Cobb County, Jefferson County, Knox County, and severe. That is this part of the squall line. I call it the comma head. So this is heading towards you in Tazewell. It's over Maynardville, Old 33, Broadway. It's pushing over Norris Lake. So hopefully your friends that have been on the boat on this Monday are now off the waters, because my goodness, there's a lot of lightning. There is heavy rainfall still in the Alpha community, Talbot, Morristown, down to Jefferson City. Let's walk you through this next one. Again, Cobb County, Jefferson, Knox, and severe until 345, a little farther south into the warning. Very heavy rainfall along I-40 through the Pigeon River Gorge. This is down towards you guys in Hartford at the Waterville exit. It is right over I-40 towards English Mountain, Dandridge. There's a wind signature here down towards Kodak that we're tracking, so some wind damage possible there. And then you can see the squall line side of things. This is pushing right into downtown Gatlinburg, so folks in the back may want to get our holler cameras ready to go in a couple seconds as we'll begin to see the wind. Again, this morning till 345, Cobb, Jefferson, Knox, and severe. Still 50-mile wide swath of rainfall, but this is the section of the winds. It is pushing up into Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Now down towards the bottom warning. This goes till 3 o'clock. Blunt, Jefferson, Knox, and severe. So these are a lot of overlapping warnings if you hear me calling out your counties. Just to reiterate, as we're coming up on the top of the hour, things for now are quieter in Campbell, Fentress, Morgan, and Cumberland counties as cleanup continues. And let's take you at the big view. Those are all of the severe thunderstorm warnings. This whole line is warned, and then these whitish gray colors are some of the wind signatures. Look at all the lightning. There is 2,201 strikes. The tornado threat is pretty limited right now, although not zero, but the lightning threat and the straight line wind threat are exceptionally pronounced. And okay, yeah, let's take the live look from the Gatlinburg camera, and man, you can see the winds coming in. Okay, our mountain mile is down because of that. I want you to notice down here by the hotel, you see these flags. That is quite a bit of wind rolling through right now. This is only about to get stronger as it's near whiteout conditions as we look across. Let's take you back to max 3, and we'll see this number continuing. Here's what's happening. There are so many wind damage reports that we're having trouble keeping up with it. Our friends at the Weather Service, emergency managers are no doubt having trouble keeping up with it. Here's where we're at now. Coming up on 3 o'clock, this is the wind damage area. Seymour, Maryville, and especially the eastern parts of Monroe County. That will continue up through about 4 to 5 o'clock. Here's the future radar here. Again, this is now a squall line threat. This is about where we're at, so a little ahead of schedule. And within the next hour, much of this should be getting out here. Still quite a few power outage reports and some big gusts, 47 at McGee-Tyson. All right, we're going to work our way back over to meteorologist Jacob Durham. Jacob, I'm going to pass the baton over to you.
Yeah, so guys that are listening in the back and maybe want to make a call on this is near Farragut, tree and roof damage in the neighborhoods north and south of I-40 along Level Road. So those areas were very, very hard hit. Of course, we were talking about those strong gusty winds that were here in Bearden, and now it's caused some tree and roof damage there in the neighborhoods. And also talking about the severe thunderstorm warning that was up for portions of Campbell and Claiborne counties. Here's a look at the wind velocities, very strong there. You can see just north of Maynardville to the east of La Follette, we're dealing with these gusty winds, 60, 70 miles per hour, causing these trees to come down. There was the highest gust at McGee-Tyson was actually 60 miles per hour. The National Weather Service just mentioning that, and has been alluded to, these storms are thankfully moving along. They're a little bit ahead of schedule in terms of what the models are showing, so that's good news. Hopefully they'll come through about 3 o'clock, and then we'll see most of that beginning to kind of push off into the North Carolina side of things, but still heavy rainfall on the back side of this. So if you are out and about trying to drive, maybe beginning to clean up some of those trees down, just wait a little bit until all of the storms have passed over towards Crossville, Jamestown, Wartburg, Oneida. The worst is now well east of you, and it's going to become a little bit more quiet, but still dealing with some very gusty winds. Been kind of keeping a close watch on some of those Gatlinburg cameras over the last little bit, and those winds are definitely very gusty out there. Thankfully, it has come down just a little bit, it looks like, but some of the strongest winds in and around Dandridge to Newport at the moment. They were hit hard not long ago, but some of those 60, 70 mile per hour winds could be in and around the Dandridge community. Back over towards Newport, this is heading east once again. Those severe thunderstorm warnings go until about 3:30 to 3:45 as these storms continue to race off towards the east. Meteorologist Paige Noel has been keeping a close watch on these showers and storms as well. Paige, any new information that you have?
Not really. It does look like it's hopefully starting to wrap up, become a little bit more on that clustery side is kind of how we like to call it. So we're watching the last of this push out of here. If you are back towards Plateau, parts of southeastern Kentucky, we haven't talked about you in a while. Right now you're looking pretty good. Can't rule out very isolated downpour storm popping up, but at least this main line has moved out of your area. Now, of course, you're still in that tornado watch till 7. I think we'll see that start to push back once these rain and storms move out of here. Look at all of that lightning. I think Ben measured it earlier, over 2,000 lightning strikes. I still want to track out. This is that really nasty line that just moved through parts of Sevierville, now continuing to move through Gatlinburg, but especially Sevierville. That's that same line that has been providing damage, did provide damage in and around the Knox County area. Again, we're getting multiple reports. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more information on that in a second, but kind of tracking out, I think this is where some of those really gusty winds are. That's going to be moving into Knox County in the next little bit. Let me redraw that for you as it was not beautiful there. But these are continuing to push east at about anywhere 40, 50 miles per hour. So moving into Allen Grove at 3:15, Dixie Highway at 3:31, Del Roe at 3:37, and then Ebbs Mill at 3:49. Right now we're just dealing with that rain in and around the Knox County area. We haven't talked about this storm, this severe thunderstorm warning. It has been, I think, trimmed back a little bit. It used to include a little bit more of Campbell County, really just including parts of Claiborne County. So city of Tazewell, you're about to get in on that really heavy rain moving out of Union County and then into parts of Granger County as well. Let's check this out. I think these are moving. This one's still, I think, moving pretty east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that's going to continue to move a little bit more towards Sneedville, Rogersville area. So moving closer to Thornhill at 3:21, Bald Point at 3:29, Bean Station. Looking at this next round to move into your area at 3:36, and then Mooresburg at 3:43. So we still had that severe thunderstorm warning. I think they'll probably let that one expire as they're just dealing with some isolated gusty winds within that storm. Then you could still see a lot of Greene County in a severe thunderstorm warning, along with parts of Cobb County. Really got that heavy rain in and around the Dandridge. I think we got some gusty winds in around the Dandridge community. Could be getting some damage reports from your neck of the woods in the next little bit. But let's track out that line of some storms moving into Parrotsville at 3:16, Bright Hope at 3:29, Greenville seeing another round of those severe storms moving into your area at 3:44, and then Tusculum there at 3:51. Like Ben was talking about, we do have a flash flood warning that includes a lot of really Jefferson County, so in the Dandridge. So not only are you dealing with that really gusty winds, some heavy rain, lightning, severe storms, but also the potential for flash flooding. Really, that's a risk for all of us. So kind of keep that in mind as we head, I would say, at least over the next potentially hour or so as we start to wrap up this first alert weather day. But we still, of course, have multiple warnings out for the area. So you can see that one that's starting to move into parts of Tazewell. We just looked at that, taking you back to this one that's moving into the Gatlinburg area. We're still looking at some. I'm looking at some of our holler cams. It looks like just really heavy rain. Winds don't look too bad over there. That's a little bit closer to Gatlinburg, but I think we kind of had the nastiest storms moving into Sevierville. So I'm taking you back to look at that bigger picture. Roan to Loudon starting to clear out for you guys. McMinn, Monroe starting to clear out a little bit for you guys as well. And then as you head up right along 75, we're going to start to see that clearing for us here in West Knox. Already starting to sound a whole lot better as we look at, or really hearing it on the roof earlier. We were talking about just how nasty it sounded. So we are continuing to watch that. Let's zoom in on some of those areas as well. I think we're seeing the nasty of this moving out of Dandridge, and then Newport. I think this is right on your front door. So Newport to Hartford, get in that safe place. We're seeing the line that is really have the history of producing those really, really gusty winds moving back into your area, starting to push out of Sevierville to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge as well. I think it's starting to move out of Dandridge, kind of riding 40 a little bit more south of that as it heads into Newport and Hartford. I would say really right now It does look like it's breaking apart a little bit. I would bet that velocity is pretty nasty over there, Jacob, if you look like you have information.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Savannah, our producer, got in my ear, and we can pull up that traffic camera just real quick. You can see that there is a down tree right there behind Paige. This
Here,
is
I'm
I-40.
going to step out of the way so y'all can see that.
Yeah, this is I-40,
wow.
and you can see this is at Western Avenue, I believe is what she said. So this is when those strong winds came through, and as Paige alluded to, and we can go back to Max 2, if you will, please, and we'll show you right here the strong winds that are moving into portions of Cock and Greene counties, Dandridge to Newport. Absolutely gusty winds upwards of 60, 70 miles per hour potentially as this storm continues to move off towards the east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. And there is some good news is they're beginning to trim back some of those tornado watches for Wayne County as well. So that's just kind of an idea that once these storms pass, things are going to improve. You're going to have kind of a slow commute home probably tonight, especially with some of these power outages and trees that are down, at least at the moment. But by far the strongest winds looking over towards Gatlinburg. It's just heavy rainfall right now, which is good news. But some of those gusty winds in around Klingman's Dome to Gatlinburg, and then also back towards Dandridge and Newport. Really, that's the area that's under the gun for the strongest storms right now. Knoxville, things will get better here in the next little bit, probably next 10-15 minutes. The rain will slowly taper off. Then we'll focus on some drier afternoon and evening for us. There still could be a few pop-up showers, but this is the main line. After this goes through, the severe threat is really going to diminish, and we shouldn't see any more issues. But also, we'll kind of go back up to portions of Campbell as well as Union, Granger, and Claiborne counties with this particular storm, and take a look at the velocities because it was pretty strong earlier, and that too has shown some signs of weakening. Still some maybe 40, 50, 60 mile per hour winds just to the west of Tazewell. There's 25E and 11 west, of course, looking pretty good as these velocities are hopefully going to trend down over the next little bit, and we can get you back to regular scheduled programming. Of course, we're going to talk about all of this and more in the WVLT First Alert Weather app. You can get it in the WVLT News app as well as we continue to report on all of these power outages that are coming in. Over 6,000 people in Knox County without power at one particular point in time. So these storms have definitely done quite a bit of damage over the last couple of hours, and thankfully now some of the storms are getting a little bit weaker, and they're at least moving out of the viewing region. So hopefully we can kind of continue to see some improvements over the next probably 20 minutes or so. But really right now, as Paige was talking about this storm in and around Newport, this is the one that I would keep my eye on the most. You can see that kind of strong line of those showers and storms and that strong line of wind that's about to push into Morristown. Now Newport just ahead of that. That's where the strongest winds are right now. Straight line winds once again. We do have that tornado watch until 7 o'clock. Thankfully, haven't had to deal with many tornado warnings today, just a couple, and haven't seen any reports out of those. But the National Weather Service keeping a close watch on this and doing a great job. But we are seeing multiple reports of trees down as well as power outages down all across downtown Knoxville, all across East Tennessee, McMinn, Monroe counties, back into Cumberland, Claiborne, as well as Campbell counties, and even portions of southeastern Kentucky getting these reports. But right now, the strongest of the winds are moving into portions of Union, Granger, Hamblin, and Cott counties, and then eventually into Greene County. But if you look at the whole movement of this, the good news is they're moving relatively quickly, and over the next, I'd say, half hour, they're going to be out of our region, and we're going to be able to get back to kind of just a normal day as you begin to kind of clean up. Paige?
Yeah, we're getting some reports from the National Weather Service. Want to read off of some of these. Kingston Pike, West Knox County, Service King auto repair roof off and laying on house next door. We've gotten a lot of reports for Roane County. So for you in the back, I know we're making a lot of Knox County calls, but Roane County now reporting that a house has lost at least some of its roof. Lots of power outages, of course, in Roane County. They just had that line of those strong to severe storms move through. And then we just showed you that tree down on I-40 west of 275. Let's talk about these storms as they are continuing to kind of push out of here. Look at all of these lightning strikes. You see those orange ones? Those are older ones, so they are starting to go down a little bit. Still 1,600 lightning strikes in our area, but that's better than that 2,000. So that just shows that some of these storms are starting to weaken. This was that line that's now moving into Newport that we were tracking for you that brought those really strong to severe storms in and around the Knox area. That's why we're getting a lot of those reports. It's because of those really gusty winds that push through. It looks like it might be breaking apart a little bit as it moves into Newport, and then that could track into parts of Greene County. So I'll kind of track out. I'm actually going to track when it leaves. We've been talking about where it's going. When is it going to leave leave kind of our area here. So it's going to start to push out of Baileytown at 307, Newport 314. You'll still deal with the rain, but I think that severe threat's going to start to move out of your area. Dixie Highway at 323, Hot Springs at 348, and then Walnut there at 357. Here's this severe thunderstorm. Oh, we just got a new one. Let's go to that one instead. So new severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. Drum roll, please. And it's looking like it's for parts of, really just kind of includes a little bit of Greene County, I think. Let me double check that with the National Weather Service here. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Greene to Cock. But I think it's a sliver. That's till about 3:45. So again, we've been tracking the line of those rain and storms kind of moving into that area. I do think it's breaking apart a little bit, but of course those storms have a history of producing those super gusty ones. Going back to this storm that was in parts of Union County, I think this one's breaking apart. They'll let this one go. I think this should expire soon, maybe 3:15, 3:30. Maybe they let it go early here on this one, but it looks like those storms, we still got some storms moving into the beat station. Remember, I turned off the lightning. I forgot to remind you that. I've turned off the lightning. There's a lot of lightning with these storms just so we can see where some of the heaviest of that rain is. Back to Knox County. If you're like, what about me? We're getting a lot of damage reports in around the Knox County area. We're going to continue to keep you updated on that. But as for the severe threat for Knox County, we are not in any type of severe thunderstorm warning. We of course still had that tornado watch. I think they might be starting to cancel it a little bit. I think they only canceled it for maybe parts of southeastern Kentucky. So we're still in it till 7 o'clock. I do think we'll see that be let go here. I would say probably at least in the next hour or so as we continue to track the last of these storms. Remember, we do have that flash flood warning. Includes parts of Hamilton County, mostly Jefferson County, including Dandridge. And then I think that's a sliver of Granger County that goes until 4:15. Haven't gotten a lot of reports of flash flooding. We've definitely seen that heavy rain, so I think it is definitely possible, but we've just been getting a lot more of those reports of really the downed trees, the downed power lines, the power outages with the really strong storms that moved in. Let's take you back. Here's a look at Knoxville again, where we are starting to at least see some of the rain push out of here, where I think we've seen the worst of it move out. New flash flood warning. Let's go to that one. Could get a lot more of these. Okay, that's including parts of Cock to Greene County now. I know it's really hard to see, but that line of those really strong winds, heavy rain. So we're moving through that area over the past probably about 2 hours now. So we've been tracking that really heavy rain. I'm going to take you back. Let's take you back to that area. Here it is. So you could see, it's really hard to see with the green though, but you could see some of that green kind of outlining, and then another box, I would say right here. I'm using my finger to show you where that box is. Again, really hard to see on radar, but it includes parts of Greenville and it includes the city of Newport. And then again, we got that other one moving into parts of Jefferson County. Meteorologist Ben Cathy has some more updates for us.
Yeah, so I want to talk about what's happening on the highways. We got this at 40 and Western, and I will take you on a radar tour as well. So this is a large tree rolling across, and of course, really saluting our first responders and folks out there with the TDOT crews, because man, there's still lightning in the area. There is a bunch of slowdowns, and we're seeing numerous reports of damage with more than 50,000 without power right now across East Tennessee. I want to take you over to Max 3. We're still seeing that report of a tornado watch until 7 o'clock. I imagine that'll be peeled back safe. But again, you've got to want to have multiple ways to get these. If the thunder roars, it is, please stay inside and away from windows. I just saw a video on Twitter. Someone sent us their neighbor's 100-plus-year-old oak tree came down across the house. You definitely would not want to be near a window. It looks like they took some window damage, and avoiding all electronics. Have that place to go. I know this says tornado, but the straight line winds in this case today have been very similar to what you might see in a tornado. And please do not drive through floodwaters. We're seeing it Montview and near Gleason. That is near Westtown Mall. Active flash flooding and actively people driving through that. You have no idea how many times our first responders and our news crews have been dispatched out to that Westtown Mall area because of flooding near Gleason. So still a few power outages to go. This is the view at 3. Still some power outages possible, and then we'll take you on that live tour of radar from north to south. So right now, this is pushing out of here. I want to let you know who is all good. We're clearing out here towards McMinn County. You are clearing out temporarily in the west side of Knox County. There is still a little lightning, so I'd wait about 10 minutes to go outside. It is clear now in Union County, in Campbell County, Scott County, Fentress, Morgan, but this is still to go as it moves through our mountains. So what we're looking at, we got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. We'll get you the update on that. Is this the one, guys, for Cock and Greene County, the brand new until 3:45? Okay, so that's the brand new severe thunderstorm warning. You'll see that updated there on the left side of your screen. This is pushing towards Dandridge, towards Mohawk, and largely out of our area, but that is still an ongoing wind damage threat. Maryville, still a ton of rain, but a lot of the lightning has now pushed towards the Gatlinburg area. And then what we're seeing right now, again, is into Great Smoky Mountains National Park as rescue crews have actually been looking for a couple of hikers down in Monroe County. That search, no doubt, made more difficult by the intensity of the rainfall. So here's what we've got. This is a flash flood warning, kind of like a cigar shape here. This is into just past Union County, over into Granger County, up into Hamlin County. And there has been a ton of rain, so please do not drive through that. There is still, again, a tremendous amount of lightning. I would hold off on some cleanup, except for the west side of Knoxville. There is this fresh strike up here in parts of Loudoun County. Last time we showed you this, there were fewer reports of damage. There was the damage at Sanborn off of 11 down to the Rocky Hill area, just to the west of Rocky Hill. We've seen numerous reports of trees snapped in Campbell County in both Carrollville and La Follette. Trees snapped in southeastern parts of Union County. We've seen 1 or 2 hail reports here towards the 40-81 split. And we're sending our crews out right now to find that. But the good news is here, folks, it is now 3:10 roughly. A lot of these storms are pushing to the east and should be out of our area within the next hour or so. So we'll try to get you back to regular programming once we can. But first, I want to take you back to Brittany Tarwater at the day.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Yes, do want to let you know about a hazmat incident that Knoxville Fire Department is working right now. Here's the information. Knoxville Fire Department is on Fountain View and Sanders Drive, this in the Fountain City area, for a gas leak because of a downed tree. They're asking you please avoid that area. They are responding to a hazmat incident, a gas leak that is the result of a downed tree. We have been talking about trees down all across East Tennessee all afternoon. Here's another example. This is off of Level Road. We have been showing this to you. First responders taking care of downed trees in that area. This is on I-40 that's impacting some of the lanes there. They are working on that, trying to get that taken care of. But we have trees down all over the place. We're going to show you a couple pictures that we're just scrolling through that you have been sending to us. Thank you, by the way, to everybody who's been sending this to us. Ben Cathy mentioned just a few minutes ago flooding in the area near Westtown Mall. This is actually right there on Ray Mears and Montview. That's over in the Target area behind Westtown Mall. Flooding in that area. Please be careful. If you see water on the road, it's not worth it. Don't drive through it. As first responders, as our team of meteorologists have mentioned, that's just more dangerous than what it's worth. Some other pictures that we're looking at here in Jefferson City. We have trees that are down. Dawn sharing this picture with us. Branches down in Von Noor. You're seeing this. Rhonda sharing this picture. Thank you, Rhonda. Dark clouds in Newport. That's from Sheila. Large trees down. Hamlin County seeing trees down in that area. Heavy rain in Carnes. This from Robin. Robin, thank you. And then we're seeing some other trees down in the area. Look at all this. Trees down in Blue Springs. That's in the Philadelphia area. Chadwick sending that one to us. Heavy rain in Kodak from Alicia. And really just this is the story that we're seeing through East Tennessee, depending on where you live. It's what time it hits you. Dark clouds like you see here from Elaine in Greenback. Just the story that we've been following. I was actually talking to my husband a few minutes ago. He's seeing down trees in the Cedar Bluff area of Knoxville. So we're seeing trees down, and emergency crews are responding to trees down all across East Tennessee. And TDOT is asking everybody, just stay off the roads. If you don't have to be out, it's safer to just stay off of the roads until all of this is fully out of our way. All right, power. That's another issue that we have been talking about. KUB seeing the number grow most recently the fastest. 56,000 customers in KUB who right now do not have power. So that's almost 25% of customers in KUB right now without power. So a significant number of folks in the Knoxville area right now who are without power. And then this here, the map that you're looking at, this is Volunteer Energy, showing that number is steady, still about 18,000, almost 19,000 customers, most of them in Cumberland County, a little more than 7,000 in Cumberland County, Meigs County, almost 3,000, and then Ray County, almost 6,000 customers who do not have power. So you folks have been sitting in the dark for quite a while now, as that number hasn't really moved, but still significant numbers to report there. And then in Lenoir City, LCUB customers right now who do not have power. I'm sorry, y'all, my eyes are failing me here. I'm not seeing a number here, but last time I checked, there were about 15,000 folks who were in Lenoir City who do not have power. Y'all, if you see a different number, just let me know. It was 15,000 last time I checked, but we will keep an eye on that because we want to keep you safe. We know that it can be scary when there's weather like this and you're without power. Good reminder to get the WVLT First Alert Weather app. Okay, we'll get to that. The image in Sweetwater, we want to show you some of the trees that are down in Sweetwater, some of the damage that is what we're seeing at some of the homes in that area just because of downed trees. Let's see. Jefferson County EMA is tweeting out that 911 is inundated with tree down calls. The worst area sounds like Dandridge. And they're reporting, Jefferson County reporting about 6,000 people who are without power. So it sounds like this story is being told all across East Tennessee. Down trees, emergency responders responding to all of the calls that they're getting about down trees, including one here, Blount County is reporting telephone poles are down because trees are falling in the Topside Road area. That is falling on some homes over by Topside Road in Blount County. So again, we're seeing this story told over and over depending on where you live in East Tennessee. We're seeing several reports of downed trees. So if you can, like our team has been telling you, just stay safe, stay off the roads, and we'll continue to keep you safe. But as I was going to, just a reminder, get that WVLT First Alert Weather app. That will help you out even if you are in an area that does not have power. Just point your camera, if you're not familiar with the QR codes, take your camera out on your phone and then point it at your screen where you see that box right there. It'll take you straight to the area that can download the First Alert Weather app, as our team is sending that information straight to you, trying to keep you and your family safe. Let's get to our meteorologist, Paige Noel.
And we're tracking really the last of this to kind of push on out of here. Actually, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me take you straight to that, as it is, again, continuing to push out of here, but we're watching the last of it moving through some of our far kind of eastern to northeastern counties. I think this includes, okay, so it includes parts of Monroe County to parts of Polk County, a little bit outside of our area, Cherokee to Clay. That's until about 3:45. I think that's a very small sliver. So we kind of have those storms now starting to push more, a little bit more south of us. So actually closer towards that Chattanooga area. So it's just, again, a little bit more towards south, very small portion of Monroe County. And then as we look at that live radar, it is starting to get better in terms of those storms, or those lightning strikes at least going down. 994. It's a lot better than 2,000 it was about an hour or so ago. Here's the last of some of these warnings into parts of Cock to really Greene County here. We got a couple of those flash flood warnings as well. I think we're seeing at least those gusty winds starting to push out. I think this warning is until about either 3:30 or 3:45. I'm sure they're just going to let that one go, as I think some of those storms have definitely died down. You can really just see that rain now into Sevier County, Blount. I think most of the rain is even pushed out of us here in Knox County, just mainly into far eastern Knox County. Here's a look into Knoxville. You can see just a little bit more of that moderate rain, but I don't think we're dealing with any of those storms as of now. I think the worst of it has pushed out, and now we're just getting inundated with a bunch of reports. Again, the severe threat's over, but stay home. It's not worth it to go out right now, as we got multiple reports of trees down in the area. We got 2 flash flood warnings, though, still. This one until about 4:15, so about another hour on it, and that Jefferson to Hamblin, 2 parts of Granger County. And then you got that other flash flood warning that includes really good portion of Greene County, including Greenville, 2 parts of Cock County, Newport. That's until about 5:30 as we head into those evening hours. So some flash flood warnings. Remember, if you see a flooded roadway, to never drive through it. Likely seeing some of those flash flooding issues very isolated in around the Knoxville area as well. You know, those areas that typically flood right towards Paper Mill in the West Hills area. Kind of taking you back here as we look over into parts of Greene to Cocke County, kind of Newport to Hartford to Greenville, still dealing with some of that heavier rain, but I think we've seen at least most of that severe weather to start to kind of push out of here. Jacob, are you seeing anything, hearing anything from the National Weather Service? I think now it's turning into more reports versus us tracking a whole lot for you, because we're really watching this kind of push out of it. You can see those lightning strikes just went down to 916 there, so definitely starting to die down and move out of our area.
Yeah, that's right, Paige. A lot of damage reports coming out. I'm looking over our Twitter page, and we also have some damage out of Loudoun County High School. You're going to see, looks like some parts of the roof are probably off of the high school itself, and you can see it just kind of looks like it was just peeled back. There's been some very strong winds there. Getting lots of reports of downed trees from the National Weather Service in the chat that we have. So just take it slow out there. In fact, if you don't have to be out on the roadways right now, it's probably best just to be at home. Looking at some of the damage reports we got tweeted to us, looking at a gas station. Let me double check where this is. Cedar Bluff as well as Middlebrook. It looks like where some of the strongest winds came down, it just shredded the awning that are over the gas pumps. So very strong winds that we're seeing right now. Most of those now pushing into Greene County. So the severe thunderstorm warnings are still going to go for about another 15 minutes or so, but I think we're getting to the point where we could probably wrap up with the coverage, and we're going to continue to keep an update on, of course, all of the damage reports. We really do appreciate all of those damage reports that you are sending us in, the videos and things like that. I'm watching numerous cloud pictures that are sent in on the Weather Vols page. We really do appreciate it. That way we can tell the Weather Service where the worst of the damage is. Of course, you can always download the WVLT First Alert Weather app. It's free for Apple and Android users. And also upload your pictures there if you're not a member of the Weather Vols. If not, send us over a request. We'll approve you, and we'd love to see the videos across the area. Of course, these showers and storms have meant business today and caused quite a bit of damage over there. But I think we're going to wrap things up pretty soon, and we're going to get back to your regular scheduled programming. Of course, we are going to be on at WVLT News at 4 o'clock. Bringing you the latest information there. But for now, we'll get you back to your regular scheduled programming. If there's anything else that we need to break in, we'll, of course, do that on air and online for you.